Hey, can people hear us? I'm here with Isidafo and MrBlack. Welcome to say hello. Or
Hello, hello. We
Hello.
are we audible? Hopefully.
it's a different computer, so hopefully we're close on the sound. I know it's never simple. So um, let's see. So first off, this is going to be a short stream. I think everyone to varying degrees is under the weather. I I should probably just explain that apparently people were correct. I was too filled with calculus.
It's Calculus Club 7, man.
Yeah, not anymore. I have been decalculus this week.
Ooh.
Um, no, unfortunately, I was supposed to be in the U.S. traveling this week, and instead, kind of got off the plane over the weekend. Immediately ended up in the hospital and had my gallbladder removed, which was
Ouch.
fun.
Yeah,
So
fun
clearly I was
indeed.
too filled. Clearly, as everyone was telling me, I was too filled with bile.
Yeah, there you go.
So, are you going to ever use the phrase, you've got the gall to say or do something?
Well, some people may have the gall, but
Yeah.
I clearly don't.
Mm.
Um, and the good news, they let me out of the hospital yesterday, so doing a little better. Um, but
Yes,
apparently there was there
exactly, kidneys.
yes
Yes,
there
that's precisely it.
exactly
Yeah,
no there literally was too much calculus.
yeah. I don't know how I feel about all these derivative calculus jokes, though.
Yeah,
Well, I think they're integral to the stream experience.
Yeah.
pretty much. Um, anyway, so I'm gonna do my best with a stream, but this is not gonna be a multi-hour stream. And I think Isidaf was also under the weather, although fortunately a little bit less severely.
Yeah, I just have some kind of cold dealio, so as long
Uh,
as I'm, not falling asleep, I should be okay.
and Mr. Black is in one of those places that doesn't believe in weather, right?
Well, we're actually learning about weather pretty soon. We're actually getting much more rain than any of us ever remember. I mean,
Really?
San Diego is pretty much a permanent drought town, but the reservoirs are high because we had much more rain than anyone expected. The only problem is no San Diego knows how to drive on freeways in the rain. So hopefully you don't get stuck in traffic because it could be very dangerous.
Right. That makes sense. I
They don't teach
remember.
us that in driving school. It's not in our skill set.
Oh, so LA used to be horrible in the rain. When wouldn't rain much, but when it did, uh, my theory was always that people sort of had been always been told that it was dangerous to drive in the rain, and so they figured the solution was they should just get there as quickly as possible, so they weren't driving in the rain very often. You know?
I mean,
Hmm.
sure, does make some sense,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
still, though, that just means you're going to get there at 5 miles an hour instead of 3 in LA.
I learned to drive in Minneapolis, and you would think that the people in Minneapolis would be very good at driving in snow because it snows all the time. You would
Yeah.
not be correct. Uh, it's a disaster. The snow comes down and everyone just forgets like how to turn. It's ridiculous.
Okay. No, I remember having to drive in the snow in Boston, and it took a little adjustment because when you skid, you're used to you turn the wheel the opposite way of the way you think you're supposed to.
Right. Yeah.
Mr. Audit, that maybe microphone issues or maybe me being congested. So
Yeah, I guess all of us are under the weather to varying degrees today.
let me
Um,
see. Maybe it's possible I'm using the wrong microphone. I've had that issue before, so I can see if I can try to fix it. But
Kidneys has the pillow.
yeah,
Yeah, kidneys, you're welcome to join us. We are one organ short of the usual complement.
that's true.
Um,
Sure. Okay.
Anyway,
No, I bet my microphone's probably just some audio setting, me being congested, or I don't know what.
so anyway, I thought what we might do is at least talk about, some of the news and, kind of, especially I think, a lot of things we said a month ago about what combinators would mean for the game. Um, People are now sort of realizing actually is happening. And so maybe it's a good time to talk a little bit about, what that means for what happens next.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
I
I
think
think
that's also pretty clear.
just so kind of outline with it. I mean, I don't think we're planning to do any cards today. I mean, I guess if people have questions about individual cards, we could just like give a one sentence answer or something. But yeah, the plan is
Well,
just talk
actually,
about the various news things and
yeah.
whatnot. I guess mostly.
But actually, I think the cards are a little bit relevant to the combinator discussion because the
A
fact
little
that
bit.
the cards are bad is actually a big part of why combinators not as
I
useful.
mean, I didn't think every card from this set was bad. But like what we got, I think it was 30-ish cards,
Yeah, I
and
think
I'm
there are
interested in
maybe four or
playing
so.
between. I think I have a few more. I'm interested in playing like 5 to 10 of them. I think. Um, but like all the golds look useless. One of the silvers seems okay. Couple of the perfects, and like a couple of the diamonds.
I think I'm interested in a few more if I could make the chemistry work. But the future legends don't have great chemistry.
Yep, they're all young guys. Haven't been in the league not long enough.
Well, it's. I mean, it's also it's weird. The chemistry of the future legends doesn't seem to work the way it does for a lot of other cards. Like the years, for example, they don't get chemistry for being in the same year, even though they are listed with the same year, which is strange. They get the same decade, but not the same year.
Did the dink and dunk thing ever get fixed?
Uh, you know what? I will check. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a big deal. I mean, how can we not have Dink and Dunk on the same team and not
Let's
get chemistry from
see,
them?
roster builder.
I know that was like our whole offense for years.
Restrictions, no restrictions. Okay, let's. I mean, they're gonna get the 5 point. Negro
No,
League
but
card
they
type
should have
bonus, right?
teammate. You know,
Yeah, it's like I think we figured out last week. It was like 9 seasons or something, right? It was
yeah.
quite a lot. Mm, oh wait, I can just choose new mix.
Um. Oh, right. One other announcement. You remember that horrible draft we did, the 1919 one, where like conceptually we had a good idea, but just we got zero good cards in a draft that's entirely card dependent.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
We somehow won that weekly.
The whole
I have
thing, like
no
you
clue
beat
how.
everybody else.
I have
Wow.
no clue how that happened.
Sometimes you get lucky.
Clearly,
And
the
cards
answer
have
is
you
we just
lucky
don't
in
understand the
results.
game because
Yeah, clearly.
no, I mean in the sense that like we really thought that draft was going to be basically here. Let me pull up the draft. I'll remind everyone just how awful it was.
By the way, Mothel and Duncan, they get chemistry for type, team, and decade, but not for anything else.
Right. They should get teammate for several years.
Yes.
And that's
Yes, I think it was
unfortunate.
9 seasons.
The
I
teammate years
believe.
are the sweetest pot for chemistry.
But I assume it's a bug of some sort. I mean, that one I think will be fixed. At least I hope it will be fixed. It pretty clearly is not working correctly.
Yeah.
The bigger question I think with the new league cards is like the ones where they were, they played for multiple teams in the same year. What happens there if they were like traded together? Because there are a number of those.
Here you go. So I can show you how we did. So we had this pitching staff. Consuegra, I think, apart from Consuegra being borderline starter, I think is actually a pretty good pick. Andy
Yeah,
Hansen's okay.
Yep. That's
That's
about
all I
it.
got.
Anna Scott was good for modern, but not so much for dead ball, probably.
This is not a dead ball card, right?
Yeah, it's a good modern card though. It's a very playable
Sure.
modern gold card. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't strike me that over 100 home run rate is going to be that useful in dead ball.
Well, the home run
No.
rate I'm actually more interested in the stuff. The stuff is really
That too.
Yeah, so
Might
so
be like
other
one
than
of them.
apart from the two best assets on the card being useless, it's a pretty okay card.
Yeah, I mean, no, like it's good. It's a good modern card because those are both actually fairly useful for modern. Home run in
That's pretty cool.
particular.
His stuff got him 3.9K per nine.
Okay, in 7 innings, but yeah. So that means what? He struck out 3 batters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Three batters.
No, there were a couple Ks, right? Here you go. Abbott struck out, what's that, 45 Ks in 150 innings or whatever. So a little under 3. Not crazy, but and then for the hitting, again, I mean, yep, obviously it's a draft, so we have the right number of overalls, but Frank Chance is pretty good.
Frank Chance and Nicky Lopez are pretty good. I guess Rafaela is okay.
Not really.
Not great.
Father Gill's okay one way, but we were playing him both ways.
Simmons has very good defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simmons hit 163 for us. And that's probably about good for him. He had eight. He had 8 triples. That's actually impressive.
Yeah. Somebody had a home run.
He had a home run.
Hmm.
Okay, tell me. All right. Was it inside the Parker?
Spike Owen has a lot of avoid Ks, though, I think.
Yes, that's the problem. Is Simba also is all this avoid K, which becomes useless. So no, it was just an awful draft. And this was, like I said, we did the best we could with what we had. But Hartnett's awful. Galarraga's awful. Rafael is really not very good.
Yeah, I mean, Rafael's like he's not the worst.
So I have no idea how this draft won.
Chance and Lopez are actually cards that you'd want to play.
Sure. So 2 of our top 9 are cards that we want to play.
Yes.
And maybe one silver. Right? Consuegra, I think, is legitimately good.
Yeah, the borderline is a bit unfortunate, but the stats are good. Yeah.
But
Frank Tavares is a nice iron.
Work out because it looks like you should have caught most of the balls hitting their general direction.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't tell in the dead ball tournaments if your defense is playing well or not because the stats don't make sense. You have to do a lot of work.
Team stats.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we were first in ZR, but that's ZR's sort of a counting stat too.
Well, also, I mean, I bet if you go look at the team statistic, the total ZR in this tournament will be over 1,000.
Yeah, probably.
So that 55.
So yeah, it's not normalized. That's what I mean by sort of accounting.
Yeah.
All right. So defensive efficiency, 22nd. That's probably more reasonable.
Well, it's also, but the thing is, there'll be some teams that like they face each other in round 1, they have like basically perfect defensive efficiency, and they lose in round 2, and they're still very high. Like it's
there probably are a lot of gyms in this tournament, like 10 teams.
It's just the defensive numbers. You have to do a lot of work to get meaningful results, particularly for dead ball, but even for modern.
It does sound so. Yeah.
This whole ZR problem has gotten worse. It's substantially worse this year than it was last year.
It is really frustrating.
Most of the time it was close to 0, but now it's just nowhere near anything.
It is really frustrating that a game that kind of, the calling card is the advanced stats is not getting these usable.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're not the base running stats. Those make even less sense. Hey, you guys got a plus 10.3 third in the tournament.
Yeah, the base running is bad also. I mean, that's the problem is this. I mean, this is actually one of the things. Maybe we'll do it next week if we can. Is to kind of, I think I want to do a thing to try to show like exactly how wrong all of these numbers are, because they're really like every number suffers from this replacement level issue, and it's not apparent how badly wrong.
It sounds a little better, Chad.
I think probably Charles needs to turn you up.
The problem is, let me see if there's a way, because I can turn both of you up. I can definitely turn both of you up.
Yeah, no. If you right click on MrBlack's Black in the call, then you can change his volume. I think without changing mine. if I'm not mistaken.
I'm trying to
So
see how to
is it
do
getting
this.
Because on the call, you
Let's
said
see
you
what
could right
chat
click on the
thinks.
logo.
Okay, try this. Try again.
How about now? Do I sound better? I hope I sound better.
Well, you sound louder. That may or may not be better, but that's for chat to decide.
Yeah.
I
All
got
When
to
I,
save myself for tomorrow if that's the case.
when I'm louder, I definitely sound worse.
Yeah, I think I'll just stick to quiet for today so people don't have to hear my nasally nonsense.
Anyway, the point is somehow this worked. So I figure we clearly have to, take one more shot at it.
All right, so BABIP, PBABIP, Control I. Let's go. And
Well,
defense.
the other question is, do we think there was something real? There is one interesting thing we did there. One of the things we've noticed is in these early eras, in some sense, the pitching all gets compressed. And it wasn't our intent when we drafted, but we didn't end up drafting any pitchers till the silver round.
Yeah, I mean the issue with the dead ball draft in particular is that you're in some ways kind of beholden to when your pitchers happen to appear because you only see 26 of them in the whole draft, and you have to take 7. So if your pitchers come at the start, you just have to take them.
Right.
And it's also dead ball. It's 3 starters, and they're going to run for you almost the entire tournament.
No, but
so
we
are hoping you get good pitchers early.
The problem is that you have to take 7 because otherwise they're going to want you to submit your team, and then you can't change from a 5-man rotation.
Right.
So you have to get to 7. And if you see like 5 pitchers in the first 2 rounds, you just have to start taking them because otherwise you risk basically running out.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So we'll try. Let's try. Let's see how we do. We'll do okay. All right. Here we go. Well, we took Gabby last time, but Olerud's actually good.
Yeah, Olerud's good. So let's take Olerud.
Yeah, sorry,
especially
Kirby. I love you in real life.
Especially the low avoid K.
Yeah, and Olerud's just like one of the best cards we could find. That's a pretty easy pick.
Yeah,
Yates. That's the only thing that's wrong with him. Everything else is good.
Yates is a good card, just not in dead ball.
Not in dead ball and reliever. So.
All right. Well, we're not taking Ned, so I think it's probably either Ott or Ripken. So
Ripken, yeah.
The main thing with Ripken,
Homer friendly.
Yes, the main thing with Ripken is this high avoid K. This high avoid K and low BABIP combo means he doesn't get that much in early eras, right?
Yeah, the defense is a lot, but
the defense is there though. He's got both the range and the error.
By 1919, I think by 1919, I don't think the error is all that important. I care a lot about it for like 1800s, but by 1919, I'm already not caring mostly.
Ott's actually a decent defensive right fielder. That's the wrong shape for 1919.
Ott's bad is bad though. I mean, maybe it's just fine because Duke Sims is also a decent card, but not for 1919.
So the bat.
I mean, Ripken's a better card, like for sure.
Yeah, I'm on board with Ripken too. I think he's the play.
All right, let's go Ripken. Let's go Ripken. Better chance to get some, something out of the, chemistry as well, maybe.
Yep.
All right, okay, so Mason Wynn.
This is just Mason Wynn by default, right? Because all the other cards are awful.
This is also probably awful for the era.
Yeah, but I mean, this card is at least has some ratings on it. The other cards have no ratings.
Okay, so look at the chain Mac for a second. If we were willing to platoon him, I hate platooning our diamond.
Actually, this card isn't so awful.
It's a good platoon path.
Oh, I was probably getting confused with the gold live reward. Yeah. Okay, but we're not taking Regan or Richardson or Shuck, right? They're just all awful.
We're not.
No, and Cross, I think, is just a little worse version of some of the bats we've had.
We're only taking Cross if we're going to play him a catcher, which probably we don't want to do.
Right. I mean, Wynn's just so bad, though, right?
Yeah, either Wynn or Mac are probably fine. I mean, Wynn gives us a lot of flexibility, given that he can actually play the outfield like reasonably too, which I don't.
The problem is he doesn't. The problem is that he doesn't do anything well.
Yeah.
Why is this card in 97?
It's not like atrocious in amount. I mean, this is a problem. The problem with a lot of stuff this year is that well, Diamond in particular, Utley and Ripken are just too strong, basically. Like they just lock out printing diamonds or even printing perfects. Like the Jackson Holiday just doesn't get played because Utley just kills the card, right?
I'm hearing some votes for Ned. We're not going
Ned
with
was in the
Ned.
last round. Not we'll go with Ned.
No Ned.
No Ned.
Hi, doodly ho, neighborino.
Question is, we actually going to face lefties? Because if we're not going to face lefties, Mac is useless.
Yeah.
That's kind of selling me on Mac because he hits righty, he hits the wrong side. How many lefties are we actually going to see in this tournament?
There should be lefties. I mean, like lefties exist at all levels. It's just and it's a draft, so.
I mean, I guess Win also is better versus lefties.
Yeah, a little bit.
They're both awful. All right. Is the you know what then? Is the answer just play Cross a catcher?
Maybe
Cross is the least bad option. Just put him a catcher.
I mean, we're all taking him to play a catcher. Taking him to play a third is
no. He's a catcher. Yeah. Read that.
And he has good blocking. I want blocking for dead ball probably.
All right. We're going catcher. We're doing it.
All right.
Look, we had a worse start last time and it came out fine. Although we could have gone win-win, and that would have been win-win. Okay, so Cepeda's good one way again.
Not that awful. I think, if I remember correctly.
Which one? Sorry.
Sagi.
I don't remember that card at all, actually. I remember Klein's and Foley a bit.
Kind of decent.
I think Cepeda's better than Sagi VL. All
right. Agreed. But we do have a first baseman already. Do we have a DH? Right. We have a DH here, right?
Okay, so Klein's is a little interesting because it's this profile where in a low K era he suddenly gets enormous.
Yeah, I've also always wondered about how much the high hitter's BABIP stacks with speed to leg out all these dinky infield hits that happen in dead ball.
I don't know.
I don't know how that. I thought speed was not. Well,
for example,
them, right? No, Foley is no.
I was gonna do the comparison to illustrate what I mean. But see, both of them have similar contact. So both of them in modern era will hit for a similar batting average. But when you go to dead ball, the fact that sort of Klein's has this very low avoid K and high BABIP, whereas Foley's the opposite, means that when the K rate goes down, Klein's becomes a lot better quickly and Foley doesn't.
Yep.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit wonky this year with the home runs out of context. It's now like batting average, but not.
So I'm thinking it's Klein's and is it Win? I mean, we lose the homer power, but maybe it's still Win?
Yeah, I guess
he's pretty okay. I mean, we could do a lot worse.
It's either that or Cepeda, who is good, but is the
contact is just this year especially. It's very, very wonky. I think Cepeda's wrong because we lock ourselves too much. He's not like.
There's no DH here, right? There is a DH. Okay, no, there is a DH. There is a DH actually.
Even with the DH, it's probably still wrong because we like close ourselves too much.
All right, well we'll do this. Well, here you go. We've got Shohei. That's a card that exists. That's a card that exists.
The Jim McAndrew, I think, is good shape for dead ball. I'm pretty sure.
Not awful.
Yeah, it's probably the best we're gonna get, at least anytime soon.
Well, let's see if we have hitters that we like. Reggie, it's not a horrible dead ball shape by comparison, but you lose all the homers.
Yeah. We also have trouble. We have to play win and center if we do that, which I don't love.
Okay, I
we
think
could
it's
even
McAndrew
take,
then by default.
we could even take both the pitchers. I mean, Darling is just very flat, like flat 80s, I think.
I think we'll do better for dead ball.
Yeah, probably.
Hmm.
Chet Lemon, I actually don't mind so much, even.
Just because the 93 range, I wish he
Yeah,
could hit righties.
yeah. But I think I'd rather do that than take Jackson and like make her outfield defense awful.
Yeah,
Kleins
we already have a
is
guy to hit right.
Kleins can play left, Wynn can play
Yeah.
left and right.
I mean, we're hoping Klein's going to play DH probably, but
All right, let's do that. So, All right, so
McKay's
Candy, let's start.
good.
Candy, it's the wrong shape for picking up extra bits in dead ball, but it's still, I don't hate playing this card at second.
So, okay, I think we're definitely taking Johnny Hop, right? That one seems like a lock.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hop is very good, at least for in this situation.
Um,
And even hits righties. He doesn't pick up as much with the low avoid K, but he's just a good card.
yeah.
Okay, McKay is another option.
McKay is an option. If we had no DH, McKay would be kind of a slam dunk, I guess.
Thing is, actually, with low avoid K, this is not a bad batting profile versus right. He has to DH, though, because he only plays first.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of ratings for a gold pitcher. They're just not in a good places.
No, I'd rather run him out of the pen.
Well,
So is it McKay or Candy, I guess?
oh, we've seen 7 pitchers, 7 starters already, and 6 relievers. We're probably supposed to take a pitcher.
I don't think I mean,
But
I don't think we're going to have enough to run a bullpen. So,
no, but I mean, if we don't take one, we're committing ourselves to taking half of the remaining pitchers, right? Because we have to take 6 of the last.
yeah, we need. Yeah, but we're really only running 3 pitchers ever in this. So,
No, but I mean, the problem is that if we get like a bunch in one round, we may end up in a situation where we just have to take whatever crap pitchers are offered to us because we don't have other options.
but I'm saying, I
Like,
think if we take crap pitchers for like numbers 5, 6, 7, we probably don't care.
I guess, yeah.
There's that. I mean, we should just. I still think we should take McKay just because of his bat. It is good enough to play. We know he can pitch.
Well, no. If we're taking Hop, McKay's bat is no spot because Klein's is our DH. McKay's bat is not relevant. This is whether we want McKay's pitching, I think, because we can't fit McKay's bat in the lineup with Hop in.
Okay, let's take Candy then.
Well, we can. Let's see. Olerud's going to play both ways.
Olerud's at first.
Hop is playing VR, so we could platoon Hop with a VL option.
Yes,
but McKay's not the VL option.
But it's not. Yeah, probably not. Right, because our out we're playing Hop, Lemon.
Okay, so then it's Candy.
Win.
All right.
Yeah, I guess
so. It's Candy.
All
Actually,
right,
one last question: is it ever Mosby? Hold on.
Mosby would be over Hop. I mean, Mosby is better than Hop.
No, hold on, because Mosby's going to pick up the extra BABIP. He's got 93 range. Is he simply the better center fielder over Lemon? You just run Lemon VL, you run Mosby VR.
You want Mosby and Hop? And no.
Yeah, I think we do that and we get a good defensive second baseman later.
Okay, I guess.
About that.
All right. The only thing that worries me is the error rating, but if you guys are going to play with, not worry about it, and you guys know more about this sort of thing than I do.
In 1919, it's not like, I'd rather have more of it, but I'm less concerned there than like in 1890 or something.
Well, first off, we got ourselves a catcher.
Yep. no, but he's actually in bad shape for this era.
You know what though? Look, he still walks. He still has low avoid K.
No, but his defensive profile is bad for the era at catcher. Like his blocking might actually be a problem.
Okay, he's a backup catcher. It's you think it's Vern Clemens?
Yeah,
It's
his
not Vern. It's not
activation
Vern.
logo. It's yeah, like in 1919 you're gonna get like a few more, but by 18 whatever, then
Yeah,
it kills
it's
you.
not Vern Clemens though. So Campaneris is a perfectly cromulent backup shortstop.
Yeah, I don't hate Campaneris, I guess. I mean, we're
We
taking
do
back for
want a
something.
starter, but we don't have any
How is the
starters. So
pitching situation? We've got one pitcher and he's terrible. Okay.
all right,
Maybe seriously
let's
just
do.
put a
Oh,
five
we're also
people
getting
lab.
short on the clock because we always overanalyze. So let's.
Yeah.
All right, Larry Jackson is actually just good.
Yeah, well, I wish he had more Babbitt for the era, but yeah, he's still probably good.
I wish he had more about for the era, but he's like this is a card that
No, we have to take him.
that
We
I'm
have to take him.
I started in the silver anniversary, whatever the
Yeah. And then probably Ronnie Mauricio, right?
I think I think it's Mauricio unless we can get a better range second baseman. I think he's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. We play Lip Pike at second. There you go. That's a good.
Oh,
That's
that
a
was
good
so
one.
much fun last year. Lip Pike at second was
Ah,
more fun
wish
than
we could.
Larry.
There's no
It would
second
definitely
pitcher.
work,
I
right?
just want to make sure there isn't a second pitcher to look at.
Uh, I don't think so.
No, I
But
don't
we
think
do
there
get a lot of
is.
pitching this round. How are we doing in pitchers? We have
This will
8
be our
left,
second
and we have to take
starter.
5 of them.
Second starter, and I have no problem taking more. All right.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay,
All right.
Felton Snow is just a good option here.
Jones knows too good. We have to take him.
And he probably is our real second baseman.
Is this Brian Hayes? What's our second card?
I think if we're at that point, it may be take your favorite reliever just to have a pitcher on the roster.
I guess maybe, yeah. Danny Santana probably hits pretty well for the era, but his defense is atrocious.
Yeah, I think we just want a pitcher on the roster, and probably Bradford's the
Okay, let's go Bradford then.
right
Yeah,
just to get a
you're
pitcher on
right.
the roster.
That'll work.
Yeah,
We need a
He's
third
gotta go in
starter.
the 14th inning.
Yeah, someone's got to go in the bullpen.
We need a third starter. If we can find a third starter, this is actually not a disaster.
Okay, so Sean Rodriguez is pretty good. So we're definitely taking him, I guess.
Unless we need two pitchers, but I
pitchers
think
we
this is
have?
just
We'll
a
have a
really
few
good
more.
defensive option.
Yes, we have 4 pitchers left. We have
So we're
taking 3.
we're taking a pitcher.
Let's take a pitcher.
So it's just Abbott and Blackburn, right?
Yep.
It's Abbott.
Yes, it's Abbott. I guess it's Abbott.
Pick your poison, gentlemen.
Well, let's hope neither of these guys, whichever one we take, doesn't get in the game.
It's Abbott. All right. We still need a starter. Come on, we got 2 more shots at the start. Okay, Blauser's fine.
Yeah, Blauser's good. Jake Tibbs.
We got exactly 1 pitcher this round, so I think we're taking the pitcher.
We take him. I mean, it's a not good pitcher for the era,
Is he
You got
worse?
pretty bad, though.
but we don't really
All right.
have a choice.
No, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Come on, pitcher.
Well, Joe Mantiply. I guess he's probably good against lefties, at least. Usually Joe Mantiply.
Is Adam Dunn a pitcher? I've heard that card's good.
Adam Dunn did pitch in a game in the major leagues.
Can we just pitch Adam Dunn?
Well, we can try.
Mr. Jehovah, we have Walkenfuss.
Technically, I think is it Snow or someone else? Even
No,
I think
Snow
technically
doesn't.
catches.
But
Besides, we don't need a backup catcher. But the backup catchers are for like good players.
No, we have Walkenfuss. That's fine.
It probably is Mantiply. It's definitely Mantiply, right? Because we need a pitcher.
Actually, hold on. We might have to take both pitchers. We have 1 pitcher left after this, but I guess we're just taking whoever he is.
We have 1 reliever and no starters left.
Yep.
So that means we are in fact starting Paul Abbott or Jay Tibbs.
Yes, we should have taken McKay.
We'll work out and we'll get like Jack Warhop or something.
No, we have no starters left. We can't even get Warhop. I mean, Warhop would be great. But
Yeah.
I would take Warhop, yeah.
maybe we could get like Ryan Walker or something. He's a real starter, right?
Yeah. All right, we doing this?
Do it.
I guess
All
so.
right.
Yeah, we just take whichever pitcher is this last one. Doesn't matter who it is. We're taking it.
Just remember, you won last week.
That's true.
I don't know how. All right. Well, the good news is that Jason Grilly has
Oh my
Babbitt.
god, that card is terrible.
I don't know what you're
That
talking
card is
about.
so bad.
The game. This card is going to be so much fun.
We don't have a choice though. Okay.
Yeah, Alisei
will
is
the-
fine.
Hold on. We do maybe have a choice. Will the game let us set Siani or Maton as a pitcher?
Or hold on, does Sisler pitch?
No, that's true.
Sisler could
No,
pitch.
it's probably too old, this version.
Whoa. He has 2 pitches.
Okay, the game will let us set him as a pitcher.
Wait. Sisler has 2 pitches.
Really is a better pitcher somehow. But the game will let us set George Sisler as a pitcher. Okay, but we're just taking Grilly, yeah.
We're taking, I mean, yeah, we're not sure on roster space. Okay, Alisei is actually fine.
Is Michael Siani ever a consideration? That card is actually not that horrible.
Sure, 98 range. I don't see a reason not to throw. These are going to be like our 19th and 20th bench guys. So
Yeah,
if there's any conceivable role, you're fine.
Bob Musil might get an at bat now and again. I mean, it's not a great dead ball profile. Oh, Michael Kelly's also a decent.
Kelly's decent defensive. Pat Kelly has a decent defensive. He also has 94 range. He duplicates Siani a little bit.
Yeah. Do we
have anyone that plays second?
McCreary is also decent.
I think we want Janfrin just because we technically need another second baseman.
Sure.
Let's see. You said Musil's fine. All right, let's submit. I gotta hit the clock. All right, we did it. We did it.
We survived.
That is not the worst draft we've ever done.
I think this one is better than last week's. Though the number 3 starter is very questionable.
Okay, so is it Tibbs or is it Abbott? So Tibbs has the higher P-Babbitt.
Doesn't Abbott not even have better control?
Abbott has better control, right? Or no, does he not? Oh no, Abbott has the even higher P-Babbitt.
Tibbs is going to walk the world, but he does have 115 home runners.
I mean, they're basically the same. And oh no, it's Abbott. It must be Abbott, right? We don't care about the home run or the stuff.
The question is, are there enough home runs in this era that the 35 points of home runs is worth anything, basically?
I don't think so, but maybe.
I sure hope not. It's dead ball.
Well, it's sort of dead, right? It's 1919. It's not like 1902.
And that 1920 is like the big jump year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that is the year where they stop calling it they start calling it the live ball era. Yes.
Like 1919.
The 1919 weren't the home run leaders.
Like 1919, I think is like.
I thought the home run leaders were still at like around 20 then. Like I thought it was not completely.
No, it's not completely. 1919 is like, I think it's like 0.5% home run rate or something.
Right, here you go. 1919, Babe Ruth hit 29, but Babe Ruth hit 29, but then 12 was second highest.
Yeah, it's like 0.5% home run rate.
Yeah, B-Ref has the home run rate in 1919 is 0.2 per game.
0.2 per game. I assume that's for both teams or per team?
Per team game. So
okay, per team
0.4 for both teams.
So 0.2. Okay, it's a little higher. It's like 0.75% or something then.
Let's see. I'm just looking at the splits. Do the splits matter at all? They're both a little bit splitty.
Well, everyone's got the bench depth. It's just whether or not they actually got in the draft actual platoon bats to pick from.
I'm just thinking, if there's any way to determine, there you go, defensive ratings. Can they field their position?
Incredibly similar.
Neither can field their position. Wait, is hold runner not on this list? What tab is that on?
Oh, I don't know where it is. I don't know.
Is Hold
This
Runner not in
one-
either of these lists?
we actually probably want less hold runners in 1919.
Let's see. Tibbs is 115. Abbott is 115.
Oh,
Yeah, there are a lot of 115s this year. But
Tibbs
you
has
probably
higher
want less-
stamina for what that's
You
worth.
probably want less hold runners in dead ball, right? Because you want people to try to steal because the rate's so pathetic.
Maybe. All right, we're gonna let chat decide. How about that?
Can't you actually get people with just hold runners alone if they set their base running high? You just took big of a lead and you can pick them off.
Yeah, they do happen, but I don't know how. I don't know actually what the frequency of them in 1990 compared to modernists. That's a good question. I would assume it's more, but I don't know for sure.
All right, we'll do a poll. In the meantime, let's see how our chemistry is. Yeah. Oh yeah, let's see what they did and how bad it is. So they
So
let's see.
we should definitely we should play Mauricio at third and Snow at second because this is just wrong.
You mean, are you trying to tell me that you actually want the good defensive alignment?
Yes, I am. And then we should platoon Mauricio and Blauser. It's actually quite a good platoon.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Blauser actually fits. So in the outfield, I think we wanted to run Mosby VR and Lemon VL in center. Is that what we were thinking?
Maybe we run Mosby both ways and we platoon Hop and Kleins or something, or Hop and Lemon. So we put Hop in left. We put Hop in left V. McMosby's in center VR. Hop in left. Klein's DH.
Right, because we definitely want Kleins in the lineup here.
Yeah, so Klein's DH, and then the other way we take out Hop for Lemon, and we shift Mosby to left, I guess. That seems to make sense to me.
Mosby left, Lemon center, Win right. Hop now just doesn't face lefties, and it's probably still Kleins.
Yeah, still Klein's DH, I guess.
And Adam Dunn not getting a lot of appearances.
Yeah,
Actually, I think he is our backup DH.
it's probably our backup DH. Yeah.
He's also a team backup.
Yeah.
Sean Rodriguez, a defensive replacement here. So normally I hate defensive replacements, partly because they run the depth chart. With 19 hitters, I don't hate him as much.
Yeah, I guess it's fine. It's not really good.
Looks like Chad is going Tibbs.
Okay.
We're going to call him Mr. Tibbs, I think.
You gonna set the platoon sliders for the platoon players?
What?
In the each players, the ones that we're going, the batters that we're going to platoon, we go into their strategy page and set their PH platoon usage and pinch hit for players to high.
Oh, do you? We could do that.
I don't usually bother with that.
I usually don't micro that, but I'm happy to try. Let's demonstrate that and try.
I just don't usually bother in drafts because everyone I don't want to give the AI more chance to bring in the irons.
Well, there is that.
But yeah,
we did kind of luck into a couple platoons though, so I just figured I want to give them a chance to shine.
Sure. So what do you want? You want to set where is it? You want the platoon usage to be frequently, you think? Is that what you do?
I usually do that in dead ball because almost everyone is a platoon player at one point. If you can bring 18.
Yeah, in open dead ball, it's a decent thing to do.
So we just do it with the players that we're actively platooning in our lineup.
Right. So just Blauser.
Oh no, I definitely wouldn't put pinch hit for hitter on because the AI is going to do all kinds of nonsense then. Like the pinch hit platoon usage I like, but the pinch hit for player is just going to put the irons in randomly.
That is true. All right. So Mauricio, Blauser. Who else were we platooning? Lemon, I guess.
Yeah, Lemon and Hop.
And Hop. All right, that could have gone worse.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I think I prefer this one to last week's.
I don't think either's a good draft, but I think McKay was the one miss, but I'm not sure it was a miss at the time.
No, I think it was probably pretty close call at the time, and we just got bad luck on the starters. So, which,
Anyway, good. We did it. But I think the other thing was we'd wanted to talk a little bit about sort of where the game's headed with some of this, right? Um, so I think maybe a big part of the discussion, maybe two things, right? One has been people noticing that combinator teams are really powerful.
Yep.
this is shocking.
Yep. So we could talk about where that's going, and the other is spotlights. Oh, plus, I did get some good advice from an affiliate streamer today that we should talk about CERA and its value in choosing a catcher.
Well, I will say, for all of its flaws, catcher area is a tremendous team stat. It really gives you a very good understanding of how well your pitchers are doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for catchers, it doesn't really tell you much.
So actually, I will say there is one other thing about CERA, which is nice, which is it's one of the stats that the game gets correct about catchers.
Sure.
Does it? I've never actually checked if it's gotten it correct. I don't know that I'm
Oh,
going to say.
you know what? I haven't
enough
checked.
answers.
No, you're right. I've just assumed. I shouldn't assume.
I mean, forgive me for being a latecomer to baseball. I didn't really play when I was younger, but when I started at poker, the results always went to me. If I won, I won. If I lost, I lost. And I could not genuinely imagine that the average pitcher would let someone else call his pitches. But of course, that is how it is for the most part in real life baseball. The pitcher does pick which pitch to throw. Sure, the pitcher has the final say, but the catcher typically calls the game. And
Yeah.
you do see that expressed sometimes in Sierra, especially if the one catcher on a team is just significantly better at calling a game than the other one.
Yeah, I mean that may be relevant, but in like real baseball,
Because
for
they're
PT,
OTP.
for PT,
Yeah,
it's
these are
not
all
really
lines on
gonna
the spreadsheet, so that's not a thing.
do anything. Yeah.
Not that I've seen at least. I mean, I guess the question is, so maybe this is the way I'd think about it. So in principle, any stat that you pick in a big enough sample is helpful. That is to say, if you simply have a large enough sample, you can just plain use ERA to determine what pitchers are best. Right? The problem is you need a very large sample to get ERA to equilibrate. There are other stats where you're going to be able to get them to equilibrate a lot more quickly,
Also,
which
in
means they're going to
particular
be a lot more predictive.
for something like ERA, the amount of time you need is like many seasons.
Right.
So that's yeah.
So I think that's the thing about catcher ERA. It's not that it's a meaningless stat. It has a meaning. It is the case that in the long run, a better catcher will have a lower CERA. But if you want to kind of be able to look at catchers and determine, which is the most predictive of what catchers are going to do going forward, CERA is likely to be one of the things that takes the longest to reach an equilibrium and therefore is likely to be the least predictive. Is that fair?
That is
Sure, but you can also remember that in your rotation, the backup catcher typically catches the third pitcher. So if you're deploying your pitchers normally top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, best, second best, and so on, you should come out correctly. However, if you're for one reason or another, your best pitcher is say playing third in the rotation. Say we're playing the do or die gold quicks. Winning the third game is the game you need to win to get a pack. So you may actually want to stack up your better pitcher in the third spot for that reason.
no, you don't.
Backup
You
catcher.
don't because it's 6. If it were a different number of games, you might, but because it's 6 games, it's like very wrong.
Well,
But
you
anyway,
play number 1 is number 1, so you can play him at game 6, and number
Yeah.
2 plays on game 3 as opposed to game 2 where you normally would.
yeah, it doesn't actually matter game 2 or game 3, but yeah, it doesn't matter much. I should say you save.
You are right. You don't want to play your number 1 as number 1 in golds because he also played for the biggest value game 6, which is worth 2 packs.
Yeah, number 1, number 2, number 3. Either way, doesn't really matter. I guess it's slight preference number 2 third, but it should be almost equal. And then the other 2 doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I remember typically hiding my worst pitcher at number 4 and intentionally resting everyone I can.
I feel
Yeah, I
like
just don't
I feel like there are a couple other tricks you could try.
Yeah, if you're gonna do other stuff, sure. But I mean, if you're just playing straight up,
Yeah.
like
And you're
Also,
right.
for
If you're in
example,
6 games, like only maybe your shortstop's going to die, you can play one position player 6 games straight. You should be fine.
yeah, I just let them all die. I don't care.
well,
Like Buddy
so
Bell's too good. Buddy Bell dies
for
are still better than
example,
random guys.
yeah, like for example, if you're going to try to run an opener in a gold quick, I think you're better off trying to have success with that opener game 2 than game 3, because by game 3 you're starting to run into depth chart management.
Yes, and you're also probably gonna. I mean, on average, you'll face slightly better teams in game 3,
Right.
so they'll be more likely to have like sensible opener stuff.
On the
So,
other hand,
it's
right
hard.
now it's fairly right-handed. If you wanted to try running one of the splitty lefties, like Fitzsimmons or sorry, like Hank Robinson, I think I'd be more inclined to try that game 3 or 4, probably 3, basically right around the point that you start to have lefties need to sit.
See, I just avoid all of this by not letting anyone rest in cold do or dies.
Yeah, I can't even bring openers. I don't typically only bring 10 pitchers total.
Everyone just if you're starting, you're playing. Like there's no one gets to rest.
You can rest when you're dead.
Yeah, you could rest the next tournament.
Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't really tried to optimize much for that. So
But everyone else can play until they die. Yes.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, I guess we'll have platoon and catcher because but yes.
Right, and playing a one-sided rotation to tire out the catcher doesn't work because you're playing a different team every time.
Yeah.
Whereas in like a best of 9, you probably want to consider playing a one-sided rotation just to screw your opponent up.
Even there, I really don't like doing it unless it's like I'm picking from a bunch of I will not move down a tier to get a good hand.
Yeah, of course. You don't.
If they're in the same tier, I'll sometimes care, but if I won't move down, I won't move tiers for it. Like for sure, it's not worth that much. But yeah, it's a consideration. But gold or die, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like you just play the 5 pitches you think are the best. If you're gonna play 5 starters, like there's no point to care about the hand.
We're gonna get more people in the gold do or dies, make them fire faster.
I will say I've considered running a 6-man rotation in gold do or die.
Well, yeah, but why would you only use your number 1 pitcher once?
Oh, okay. So here's the idea. I don't think it's right. And so look, I haven't basically touched the game for a week, which also means I'm probably not going to qualify for a ton of PTCS this time around. We have to figure out, like what to do when you lose a week. I'll probably concentrate on half to 2/3 of them.
5-week period, which helps you a lot in that sense.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
I think the answer is, normally I try to qualify for everything. I think the idea is you just triage 2 or 3, and then I should have a good shot to hit the others.
Yeah, or just
you can also kick back on roster building on the Thursday and Friday before the PTCS.
Yeah, true. But so here was the thought process. I'm curious whether this is a good idea or a bad one, but this is what I was toying with. At least right when the game came out, which was the first time I thought about building one of these, I had Consuegra as just excellent. He's still good, but I had him like off the charts good. But he's a borderline starter, which means, there's this risk, there's this sort of doesn't have it risk built in, right?
I think actually, Kidneys, if you're still here, I think he did a lot of testing last year. I think there's other penalties as well. There's the stuff penalty, there's don't have it, whatever, and there's like just some kind of.
But his shape is such that with a stuff penalty, you don't care.
But it's not just the stuff. Like you get, I think, if Kidneys, if you're still here, like tell me if I'm wrong. But I
right. The 2 big ones I remember were a stuff penalty, so that's the one that I'm willing to punt on, and the don't have it penalty, which is bad. So the thinking was, if I run him in game 1, the times he doesn't have it, you just reload immediately. But the times that he has it, he's better than the other person's ace, and I now sort of have set up the rest of the rotation well.
Yeah, we're spamming those sit and go. You want to jack up their hourly rate by losing quickly or when going all the way.
I mean, if Kunzweg, I think I don't have Kunzweg that good, but let's just imagine that there is some such pitcher who is that good.
Yeah.
I guess.
But the point is, then if you were to go to a game 6, you might in game 6 actually feel like it, you have a better win rate kind of running a real starter.
I guess the problem is that in game 6 you're running your probably worst, or one of your 3 worst starters into your opponent's best starter always.
So so maybe you would just run Consuegra anyway and hope.
Anyway.
And are you shorting your bullpen for this, or are you still bringing a full bullpen?
At the time, I was playing a full bullpen because there just weren't enough natural platoons in Gold. I don't see places right now that I can really run 7 or 8 productive platoons.
Yeah, I don't know, because if that leaves you with a 13-13, I just don't think you're going to hit anyway.
No, we don't.
I don't think it's 13-13, but I think you could run 12-14.
Yeah, okay. Six pitchers is still 6 will really.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can see. I mean, I guess the other issue is that the fire rate of Gold Do or Dies is sometimes up and down. Right? Like sometimes they fire fast, sometimes they don't fire fast. And so, if you're gonna have to sit in queue for some minutes, you're probably better off just not doing this stuff.
No, that I agree. And I ended up playing more bronze instead.
In format like that, even though bronze quicks fire very quickly, it's still a significantly longer tournament.
Yeah, no, bronze is actually really not any more efficient than iron or silver. They're about the same. As I recall.
It's easier to lose quickly. That's what you got going for it.
The only thing is, I've been able to get a really high win rate in bronze. I think just because a lot of strong people have been picking Gold.
Yeah. Well, the second best one actually in terms of just pure efficiency is actually the live BO3s. Live BO3s are really good, but they don't fire fast enough.
Yeah, other than that, I'm with you. They are pretty good.
Because you can rack up giant win rates in those generally, also.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just don't fire, so it's kind of pointless. But yeah, I mean, the thing is like Gold Do or Dies, even they're so efficient that even if you run 10-20% worse win rate, it's still as good. So yeah, probably everyone should just play them. Even if you have to know the team for it, you should just play them anyway. With whatever live mission golds you have, just put them in, and it's probably still better than trying to I mean, it's not like the iron and bronze or whatever have 0 good teams in them.
Yeah, and besides, even if you're running Asbury Springboks, he knocks you out, but he's going to be stuck in that tournament for an hour, and you can get back into another one within a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good.
Wait. Why does he knock you out?
Because he has 7,000 combinators.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to use them.
Well, yes, that is an issue, but sometimes they're just too good.
I know, but it turns out you do actually have to build a roster too.
Yeah, no. The Gold Do or Die masks it a lot because you don't have to actually construct a depth chart that makes sense. You just have to cram all the cards on the roster.
Yeah,
okay, that's true.
All right, guys, put your hats on. Get your bats. We're going.
But yeah, no. I mean, it's interesting because, yeah, it's a question of I think this is what you were saying last week about combinators, which is that if you invest into level 5ing some bad combinators, that will in the long run lose you tons of points. But if you're willing to spend enough to it will be good in the short run, but in the long run it will not be sustainable. But if you're willing to spend enough money to just get points constantly, then it doesn't matter.
All right, this is probably a good point to talk about the combinators. Yeah. So as I think people have noticed now, there are 2 effects that come together, right? The one that is directly obvious is that combinators are more powerful than the normal versions of the cards. They're more powerful by anywhere ranging from a quarter of a win to about 2 wins, depending on the level, typically, something like that. And obviously they cost a bunch of points, both buying the combinator and leveling them up. And the second is they have chemistry with each other, and chemistry is very, very powerful. So if you have a full combinator team, it's potentially dominant. And I think people are now building enough of these to notice that this is true. Is that fair?
Yeah, it looks like one combinator card, as the card type, is worth one teammate year for each one of them on your team.
Yes.
So if you took 26 combinator cards with literally no other chemistry whatsoever, you still get about 250 chemistry points each. Times 26, that'll put your team chemistry bonus at about 65 to
67, 60, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it gets you a bit over
Without even
50%.
trying.
That's
I mean,
5,000 points is 50%. 67, 60, I think, is in the high 50s.
yeah, it's somewhere over that. We could probably figure it out, but actually, could definitely get it. Exactly
20,000 points is the 100% level.
It appears that way. I haven't actually managed to get to 20,000 points, but it appears that way. Yes.
Diminishing returns does kick in somewhere around 50%, where there isn't in the first half, but don't quote me.
Yeah, I haven't figured out the whole function. It's not a clean looking function to me.
Right.
Like there's.
I think I have a pretty good estimate now for how valuable chemistry actually is on a player. And the answer is big. So here's the problem: is basically my belief is that this is entirely game breaking, and it's going to be game breaking in two different stages, which probably just bleed the whole thing dry. I don't know. Should I explain, or should I let everyone jump in first and then take a shot?
Yeah, go ahead.
You the man.
So, okay. First off, let's think about kind of what you do with points, right? Traditionally, the reason that you could play the game as a free-to-play player basically has been there are two different things that you can do. There are some things that basically you are using points in a way that ultimately costs points in return for short-term gain. So a really good example of this is if you were to buy, let's say, a card like Jackie. We talked about Jackie last week. He is probably very slightly your starting second baseman in open play, but only very slightly, or shortstop, whichever one you want.
Well, you can't play second.
Yeah, he's shortstop only in his nearly.
Am I thinking of the other Jackie? Sorry.
Yeah, probably last year's, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Point stats.
Yeah. Right. The point is he's a tiny upgrade, but he is an upgrade. If you spent the 750,000 points on him, he's never going to earn you back 750,000 points. The ways you earn points, you earn some points for league achievements or something. You earn some points for tournament rewards, right? He's never going to earn you anything close to 750,000 before he gets knocked out of the meta.
Effectively, you are spending a large sum of money for an outside chance of a large plastic brick.
Yes. But I don't think that's as pejorative as it sounds, because darn it, I want one of those bricks.
Called the championship trophy a piece of metal, but that is what you're doing. You're spending a lot of money to just add your championship win percentage just that much more.
Right, and I think that's a reasonable decision. Look, I think I've been open about, my goal for this season is to win one of them bricks. But since I don't have unlimited funds that I'm devoting to the game, right? I'm a free-to-play player. This means I'm not permanently going to be at the top of the meta the whole season. I'm going to have to pick and choose when I invest.
Well, right? Last cycle when you could be, but yeah, in general, yes.
No, but in general, I'm expecting to decide when to invest. So
yeah,
typically, picking high-end league cards is a good example of something where, in the long run, this is costing you resources in return for a short-term bump in win rate, right?
It's between win now and rebuild.
And that's why,
you're always going to rebuild.
And that's why what we generally recommended to people on stream is, if you're in Perfect League right now, you probably want to be using up resources to maximize your shot. It's hard to get back to Perfect League. So take your shot use your resources. When you're out of perfectly, go save up resources for a while until the next time you're ready to take a shot, right? But if you're out of perfect league, it's probably expensive to take a shot because by the time you get up there, you're going to have used up your resources. Okay. The other thing you can do traditionally has been you can instead invest those points in things that bring back more points. A little bit of this has been things like live or mission spec, but primarily the idea has been tournaments, that what you do is you put your points into tournament cards where, for example, if right at the beginning of the cycle, Adam Dunn, not a lot of people had him. He might cost 1,500 points, which was a lot right at the beginning of the cycle. But, 1,500 points, if you were able to get him and run him in bronze, he was valuable enough that he came back, those 1,500 points came back pretty quickly. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jackie's lower now, and I don't think Jackie ever should have been that high because I think that was a misevaluation of how good the card is compared with other things you could spend the points on.
Yeah, I would say that price is still probably 3 times too high.
No, I think his real value is probably 70 or 80,000 in the sense that the upgrade you get for Jackie over a similar card is comparable to an upgrade that you can get by putting 70 or 80,000 into a different position.
Yeah. So just for comparison, George Wright, who I have as the second best league shortstop, costs 60K.
Right.
And
right.
So yeah, Jackie should cost slightly more than George Wright.
If we think he's about 0.4 wins better than George Wright, then at 333,000, you're paying you're paying 800,000 points a win or something. And at most positions, you should be able to be paying under 100,000 points a win. So part of it's misevaluation, but even otherwise, let's say you pay 60,000 for George Wright. George Wright is actually still not going to bring back 60,000 in value before he's useless. Right? Now, it's a little better than that because when you get to small numbers, he's eventually going to have some mission value and so forth.
And always at the very least, you can rip him for 20K. So you're only putting 40K into that card.
Right, but it still is unlikely to be the case that between his league achievements and tournament help, it's very likely that George Wright is going to bring back those points. So even there, you're basically hemorrhaging points in return for trying to win now, which is a perfectly valid strategy. Okay. But the trade-off, so TX Janks, honestly, if you have Jackie right now and you're in iron,
sell.
You should sell. You should take those 300,000 points. You should take maybe 20,000 of them and buy a few cards that will get you out of iron. And you should use the rest in a way that's going to build up resources so that when you're a little bit higher in the league table, you have the resources to buy the new card that's really valuable. Because by that point, Jackie won't be.
Yeah, or by the time we get to Monday the 6th, the live mission should be incredibly cheap to do. But you obviously, have to have some amount of points to get started on them. So if you sell the Jackie and then sort of do the live missions, at that point you're probably like breaking even or even probably maybe slightly positive then, and you also get this whole ton of cards.
Yeah, and they're pretty good this year. It wasn't like in previous years with a lot of the live and top cards.
Yeah, so Tactile X, I mean, the general answer is anytime you ask the question, if I just got X and I am in gold, should I sell? The answer is yes.
I would say Job is one of the cards that maybe does not fit in. I think for that, I think Job is
he is very good.
Like not. I mean, still Skeen's a bit better and such, but yeah, Job is definitely a playable, top level card.
Here's the thing: if you sell Job right now, just sell him. Buy him back in a week. Buy him back in a week when you're in Diamond.
Well, the question is, is any amount of Job's current availability spotlight driven? I guess.
Okay, yeah, we should talk about spotlights in a second, but.
Yeah, it also depends where you're at, in terms of points, right? if you have enough points to do the things that you want to do, then there's less pressing. Like, so if I have 0 points or if I have 1,000,000 points, like my pressure to sell a card like Job is very different.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess the point is Job is not going to be a big differentiator in your ability to promote from gold to diamond. He is a good card, but
So the only
but you
reason
can
that
get
Job
what you
could
need to promote to diamond without carrying an expensive card that is losing value every moment you hold it.
the only reason that Job could be is that in order to promote right now out of gold to diamond, you have to. Okay, let's just assume that team,
You have to win a
people
play. You
who
have to win a
haven't.
playoff series.
Well,
Yeah, you have to win
people who are playing Job are going to get a first round bye most of the time in gold. Job gets, if he's your best starter, which he probably is unless you have Skeens or Nolan Ryan, going to get you 2 starts in a sort of very coin flippy best of 5. Like, it may be worth keeping him for that series, basically, depending on how much.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the other
question is how valuable it is when you promote to diamond. Are you trying to sit in diamond, or are you trying to get out of diamond?
Yes. If you're trying to sit in diamond, then there's no point to rush the promotion.
Right. If you're trying to sit in diamond, you don't care.
Yeah, then you should just wait until you get lucky on the golds. But
Yeah,
if
you'll eventually win your gold playoff series, and you'll have several 100,000 more points when you do.
Yeah, if you think you have a chance to actually get out of diamond in the next week and get to perfect, then things become very different because, especially this year, it's slightly less gambly to get out of diamond to perfect, right? With the 12 instead of 24.
That's right. Yeah, no, I last season I think I would have promoted to perfect at least another 10 times in addition to what I did.
Yeah.
But I think if but still, if you feel stuck in diamond, often the reason you feel stuck in diamond is because what you're doing is you're putting in just enough resources to keep up with the meta, but that stops you from ever having the resources to jump ahead of the meta. Right.
The money you put onto your field, you can't invest.
Yep.
And so the whole point is this is really an economic game in addition to a baseball game. You need to have a way of earning income. And so that's kind of what I was getting back to with the combinator. So this is the problem now. What the combinators do is they make it so that if you buy a full combinator team, you simply will be dominating these dailies, which are a good way to earn income.
Also, that your category is quicks. And because everyone gets 2 free quick slots this year as opposed to you had to spend a daily slot to get
that's true. Yeah, the quicks are worth something too. But the big one is the dailies. Because the problem is in the quicks, I can compete against combinator teams. First off, in a do or die, I'm going to win the game 40% of the time anyway against a better team. It's baseball, right? But second, there are a lot of quicks. If I lose one, I start another one. The dailies are the ones that are
long in their quicks. It's very easy to just not come across them. If we just dumped 5 super combinator teams into bronze, it would be quite a while before any one of us saw them. And even then, maybe only once a day, playing all day.
Right. But the problem is if you do this, here's the problem. If you do this, with the dailies, here's now the situation we've created. So you mentioned the Springboks team, right? It's essentially 26 combinators in gold, most of them level 5. So you're probably looking at somewhere between 500,000 and 1.5 million points to get that, I guess.
And they're sort of random commentators. I mean, some of them are very good cards, and some of them are just kind of random cards.
Okay, but you could but the point is you could make a better choice of which cards, if you do this with a little bit better approach. Here's the problem. Okay.
Look at how super expensive a combinator is to level up by looking at how many teammates he had effectively.
Right.
Yeah, but they're all. I mean, they can't ever cost like more than that because you can always just buy a high diamond for 50K for a guaranteed level.
But here's the problem.
Yeah,
right?
The max price.
Yeah. Here's the big problem. So what it says is, if I'm willing to spend 1 million points, I can win most of the golds, and I can lock people that aren't spending the 1 million points out. But problem is, let's imagine that you win a third of the gold dailies for a week. Okay. You don't get anywhere close to your investment back. So what's happened is we've created a situation in the game where, just like with League, now if you want to win dailies and weeklies, you also have to spend in an unsustainable way. Rather than being able to use that as a way to earn income, if you want to compete, it's actually costing you.
Yeah. I mean,
And
for the
that
moment,
means
like
go ahead.
we don't know what's like. Excuse me. Tournament cards are coming at some point, and when that happens, for at least some period of time, the value of winning tournaments will increase.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter though, because it's not close. If you
No,
have
it's
to,
not.
if you have to spend 1,000,000 points to be able to compete in gold quicks or in gold dailies, you have to spend 1,000,000 points per level, right? There's really no plausible answer for the tournament card values that's going to make that thoughtful.
Well, okay. Last cycle it was doable because spotlights were so busted. Like, there's a concept. I mean,
No, it would not have been doable last cycle. And spotlights are not going to be busted. Actually, spotlights here.
No. If spotlights were the same, if combinators were just thrown to 24 and nothing else changed to 24, it would have been doable. Like I could have kept it up.
No, you couldn't have, because what would have happened would have been the spotlights would have meant that a small number of combinators for each of the key things were available, because the spotlights, those go to the very high prices, and you can't afford to keep up with that because
By the end of 24, I could have. I was making like 1,000,000 excess points I wasn't spending a week at some points. It was.
To be fair, that was the snowball effect.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the
On top
thing.
of a lot of the categories you were in.
You can once you hit the snowball, anything is affordable because you're just at that point you're competing with the like 5 other people who've also hit the snowball, right?
right, sure.
So
Anyway, here's the problem though, right? So the problem is that instead of tournaments being a way for free to play players to compete, they actually are further locking free to play players out, because it's basically creating resources that you can only get if you're overspending.
I wouldn't even say it's necessarily free to play players. I think the distinction I like to make a lot of time with this stuff is like snowballed versus not snowballed players, because really what you're doing when you spend, like, okay, what I mean by snowball is a team which is able to consistently buy every card they want and not run out of points, right? That there's no card which I say, oh, I would like to buy this card, and I just don't have the points to afford it. You might not be able to find it, right? Like last year, for example, I would have been happy to buy the PTMS reward. I couldn't find one to buy. Okay, I had the point to do it, but there wasn't one for sale. So that doesn't, that's not what I mean. But any card that was available and had a price, you could not pay for it.
Okay, but but here's the problem. The fact that there are these rare combinator versions means that there will always be cards that are too expensive. But here's the point I wanted to make. That's only the first.
I don't know I don't know that's always true, but I think for okay.
Wait. Hold on, because I want to point out what's coming next is what I was trying to get to, because this is only the first way in which it's broken. Right now, what's happening is that the free-to-play players are being knocked out of the game. And at some point, we'll just give up and go home, and probably should if you keep doing this. But I think the key thing we have to remember is the competence level of OOTP. Because right now, the game is not working as designed because they don't understand their game yet. Okay? Think the other big thing last year, how do you solve this problem? How do you deal with the fact that combinators are overpowered and everyone's going to start whining that they can't compete because they don't like never being able to win anything? Right? The solution is you have to use power creep to make it so that the combinators get cycled out quicker because the new cards end up entering the game quicker. And the fact that, we're printing all of these unplayable cards because because no one understands. I don't know why they don't understand how their game engine works yet, but they don't understand how their game engine works yet. So they're printing all these unplayable cards. when you start using power creep to take things out of the game, now what you're doing is you're saying, well, you need the combinators to win, but the lifetime of a combinator also becomes very short.
No, I mean,
And
this
that's
is
the
this is
point that, and that's the
basically
point that you price all of your whales out to.
this is basically the same effect that happened last year with the spotlights, just in a different way. You know,
Yeah,
like
you had to have
yeah.
spend X amount of money on spotlights every week, or you would fall behind that.
Well, you had to. So the thing with spotlights, right? Before spotlights, you know, you have to make choices about which cards you wanted to afford. And now spotlights are different this year. So this is 24 spotlights, because 25 spotlights, it seems like they're much more sane. At least this first one was more sane.
No, it's just that they did the same thing they did last time. They looked at last tens and they don't understand how their market works.
I don't. I think they act. I think. Okay, so I guess this is at least what I had on the spotlights from last week. Maybe you had something different. So they cost 50K. I had an EV from them that was sort of hovering between 35 and 40K for most of yesterday, and now has gone a bit below that.
Yeah, but
You know,
the reason for that is because people have given up. The reason for that is that very few people are trying to even bother with the missions.
well, these missions are weird. I'm not sure what to think of them. So on the one hand, so last year we had a lot of missions that were very much like spotlight required missions, where the mission just structures went out of function in the spotlight packs in their state, because you needed to collect like nearly every card.
And those missions needed the cards that were released that day.
Right.
So you could not get a head start on them.
So these missions, the missions from yesterday, were a mix of those kinds of missions, the spotlight required missions, and the not spotlight required missions. But you didn't have to do them all. You only have to do 2/3 of them, which sort of meant that in a lot of ways, it was like it was one really big mission, right? It's not that different to one really big mission with all the cards, where you have to just like collect a big percentage of a larger number of diamonds and perfects.
Yeah, but you
Except
needed
that some of them are new.
but you
So
needed
you could replace
a lot of the new
some
ones, right?
well, no, you need to know none of the new ones, because you only have to get 2 out of 3. But you could replace some like new golds with like old diamonds. That was sort of the trade-off you could do.
Okay, no, but just to take a look. So, for example, let's say I want FL 1 and 2 complete, right? So I need 6
Sure.
divisions complete.
Yeah, I don't know why you want that one, because you have to get Jackson Holiday. Then Jackson Holiday is useless. But yeah, sure.
Okay, which is the one you want me to look at here?
Let's say Joe. We thought Joe was a T-hit card, right?
Yeah, AL Central,
Yeah.
right?
AL Central, yeah.
Right. I forgot Joe was a mission card. In that case, forget everything I said. You're not going to be able to sell him for value because he's a mission card, and that's you're just not going to be able to sell him.
Well, so the thing is with this one, right? So AL Central batteries, okay, these missions are kind of weird. So they all require, they're structured in just a really, I don't know how to describe these missions in a way that it makes sense. So the missions were done without much thought, but they sort of worked out anyway, I think. The way these missions work is they're just like all of the legend card type cards for particular divisions. Now, what that means is that some of them, like the NL West batteries, for example, is a really stupid mission. It requires 3 cards, you have to get all of them. And there's 1 gold and 1 diamond. Right? It's just a badly designed mission. Many of the other missions are sensibly designed. Like this one is just stupid, right? You have to get all 3 of these cards. This is just basically the theme was decided upon, and the mission was made to fit the theme instead of the other way around, which is just not a good way to do things.
It's almost like a prerequisite for designing something is that you actually try doing it in the same way that we keep saying, like, if you're going to design a tournament format, you should build a roster.
Yeah. But in some ways, these missions actually end up working, because what effectively they are is like, okay, so let's say for the Jackson Joe missions, these AL Central missions,
Yeah, I'm pulling
you had to
them
do
up for you.
You have to do 2 out of 3. So you do 3 options. You do 2 of them. You can do the FL 1+2 AL Central, which requires a bunch of new cards. This is a spotlight mission, basically, right? This is a mission that you can only make work if spotlights are in their 24 state. Or you could do the other 2 missions, which required a sort of a higher, most of the diamonds and all of the gold and below of old cards. So really, in many ways, what this mission is it's taking all of those 3 sort of mismatched sets of cards and you dump them all into one mission, but you're allowed to sort of buy old diamonds to take the place of new golds. Which sort of works to give the old cards value, but it also means that the new cards can't ever get the kind of value they could get if this FL1+2 mission was required, which means that the spotlight packs, I don't know if these spotlight packs were intentionally designed to be super minus EV. I hope that's what the case, but it's also possible they're designed to be neutral, and the mission structure held these Future Legend 2s back from being valuable.
I think they were designed to be usable, and people. That's what I'm saying. I think it was a misunderstanding.
We'll see next week, because next week there probably won't be missions, and then we'll have a very good sort of view on what the design was. Now, I think that if it was an intentional decision to make them minus 15k EV, I think that was a good intentional decision. I'd rather just remove them from the game, or come up with some other system that's sort of functional.
But I also don't think I think it's almost impossible to do that in the long run. Ultimately, supply and demand are going to work. If you underprice spotlight packs, then what's going to happen is they will equilibrate to the point that they're the correct value.
Yeah, I mean, you can overprice them to the point where that will not happen, certainly. If you made a spotlight pack cost 1 billion points, obviously, they're not going to equilibrate to,
right.
Yeah. So you can certainly overprice them, and maybe that was done on purpose, because I think that's a much better system, right? To say, if you want to have this chance of ripping new cards and new spotlights, you can just take this big hit and rip them, but at least you're paying something to do that. Because there's another issue with spotlights this year if they stay neutral, which is that let's say, as we said, combinators are really strong. What the combinators, if spotlights are EV neutral, I'm just going to rip them and sell every single card, all of them, even the good ones. Doesn't matter. Sell everything until I hit the combinators I want, because I'm not losing any points by ripping. So I just rip and rip and rip and rip and rip until I hit the combinators and I stop.
Right.
So they have to be, in order for spotlights to function with combinators, they have to be designed to be substantially negative value. It's just required. But then at the same time, we get kind of the blowback we got yesterday, which is this sort of sticker shock thing, which is spotlight costs 50k. How am I meant to pay 50k for spotlights? Why are they in the game? People get upset, which is sort of understandable, right? Because these spotlights are not designed to be sensible to buy.
There is but as we've said, there is no sensible game design that involves spotlights. That's the problem.
Well, I agree with that, but that's why we've sort of been saying you should just remove them from the game, because
right.
This is the way to keep them in the game, is to make them so that people shouldn't buy them. So you might as well just remove them at that point and come up with a new system that actually works. Because there is still the risk here that there's a mistake made, right? Some mission is tremendously more difficult than it's meant to be, and it means that spotlight packs get actual value, and then all of a sudden it's a bonanza again. So if you're going to design them to be super minus EV, you should just remove them instead. But if you're going to
design them not to be super minus EV, if you're going to design them not to be super minus EV, you should remove them instead.
Yeah, you should remove them in any case. But I think the point is that if we're going to operate under the assumption that these packs were designed to be super minus EV, then it was done basically because there was a lot of feedback from last cycle, and the team realized that hey, these in the state they were last cycle were very unhealthy, and so this is the way to combat that. But then you should just get rid of them. Now the problem is there's probably some kind of business pressure, public pressure. People enjoyed the spotlights, whatever. But really, it just needs to have a better system that actually sort of does the job that spotlights are meant to do without creating all these bad knock-on
But
effects.
but either way, if you're going to have them either way, the point is the combinators will be available. They're always going to be expensive for the important cards. But when they actually get their power creep to the level they want to, which they showed last year what the intent is, and these combinators start lasting only a few weeks before they cycle out, Now what's happening is initially you made it so that only the big spenders can keep up. But now you stratify the big spenders because you say even within those, only the biggest continual spenders can afford to keep up because there literally is no competitive venue of any sort that you can follow as a free-to-play player. Every
Right.
single thing you try to compete in is burning resources instead of growing.
I'm not sure that the number of free-to-play players who can compete will be 0. I think it will be bigger than 0, but not a lot bigger than 0.
Now, there is a way to be competitive as a free-to-play player, just as to be an investor. The best way to be an investor, though, really, is to flip cards. You kind of have to live on the
Okay,
card
sorry.
shop
I
for
think you
several
could.
hours
I
a
think
day
you.
to be
I agree.
competitive.
Sorry. I think you could flip cards, but the point is, like
Yeah,
in the
it's way too
past,
expensive in terms of time.
in
I
the
You have
think
to live online.
in the past,
I
I've
think
been able to
really
go ahead.
no. I think really the question is how good the tournament rewards are going to be because, like, okay, last cycle I would say on average, I was probably making, I don't know, 1.5 million points a week, something like that. Now it's changed a little bit this year because you
I
can't
don't.
enter as
I
many
think to
tables in
get to the
weeklies.
point of making the 1.5 million points a week, though, you got to the point that you were at the top of all of the metas, and to do
Yes,
that,
I
it's
had
going to
every
take.
card.
And to
Yeah.
do that, that's going to take an immediate infusion of 10 million points.
Yes, it will take the difference. So I've okay, the snowballed state I think is very doable for a free to play player to hit. It's so far it's been hittable in every version of the game.
I
The
understand,
difference
but I believe the
the difference is
design
that
this
last year it
time.
was hittable in like 2 months because of the spotlights.
I believe with this design, it is only hittable if we get to the point that the whales all have had enough and stop spending.
Um, I suspect it will remain hittable by like 5 people or
It's
something.
possible. If so, I'm not one of those 5. I know what my skill level is, and I don't think I'm anywhere close to being able to keep up with this.
It really depends on if the tournament rewards are good. If the
I
tournament
don't
rewards are
think
like
so.
top of the meta, then I think it will be doable.
I
If
don't
they're
think
not,
it.
then it
I
won't be.
still don't think that'll be enough.
When a full combinator team, like say Asbury, comes out for the gold PTCS, let's say he just decides to sell his cards. There you go. He's able to keep going to the next cycle, or otherwise be able to stay competitive on that
Well,
front.
the difference with the combinators is that you can't resell them for value because the
No, I
points
mean,
you spent
PTCS
on
will.
leveling are basically vanished.
It's not unheard of that you can get a good PTCS word and sell it for 1.5 million or more a day of when it's
Yeah,
released.
but I mean, it seemed like Asbury is buying that card anyway, so it's
Yeah,
not
I think
like
it's
it.
fair enough.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win one at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
look,
hope
I
he
mean,
doesn't win.
not Asbury in particular. Like, I'm just saying, maybe it's not talking bigger team. Let's say a hypothetical person is willing to spend sort of effectively infinite money. Like, I don't want to, maybe naming teams is not the way to do it. Like, let's say there's someone who is, basically willing to spend infinite money on buying points or effectively infinite. Like, you know, um, one of the other issues, right, is that very extremely strong cards are almost never priced or almost always priced below their fair value.
right.
Like, so it, like for example, like last cycle, a card like that, the Jackie Robinson, the PTS9 Jackie Robinson was a card that was probably worth, I don't know, 7 to 10 million points, something like that, and it sold for 3.5. If these kinds of cards that are the real different figure cards for League are going to be selling for so much less than they're worth, then it's much more doable to keep up. Especially if they're commoners like that, you can save a lot of points. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way that this comes close to being doable uh, for a non-whale would be if the tournament cards are so good that they win to the exclusion of everything else, and the tournament cards are all easily levelable combinators, and
Tournament cards will not be combinators.
that doesn't matter.
I understand.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
Um,
No, that doesn't matter because you don't get the chemistry bonus. There's no point in using it. So the
Yeah,
the tournament cards are only going to have value if I'm able to sell them to the people that don't understand
Yeah,
chemistry,
they
and that's
I
going to
guess
be a limited
I'm
margin.
I'm less sold that the chemistry bonus will be completely overwhelming, um, to that degree.
Well, there is a way that we can at least blunt this effect, is we can just make combinator cards not a card type.
Yeah, putting combinators in chemistry was a very bad decision, in my opinion.
Well, combinators were a bad decision, and chemistry was a bad decision. So
No,
Well,
but putting combinators into chemistry was just kind of an unforced error. It feels like.
yeah, but I mean, think about it. I mean, ammonia is a good cleaning chemical. Bleach is a good cleaning chemical. I guess if you mix ammonia and bleach, that would be two good cleaning chemicals, right?
it would be quite powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, now, please don't mix those two chemicals together. That is a very bad idea. Very dangerous.
What are you talking about? That sounds fun. No, but yeah, Kabakamba drafts get you negligible rewards.
Right.
That's the problem because they're too random.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that there is nothing for free to play player to do. It's that like I think I've been pretty open that the reason my goal in the game this year is to win one of the pieces of plastic. If I don't have a shot to win one of the pieces of plastic, I don't think it's worth the time investment I'm putting in. The fun is in the chase, so I don't mind it being hard. But as soon as we're just being directly told you're not allowed to compete,
Yeah,
I should go on. I should go move on and play something else.
No, I mean, if the goal is to sit in Diamond League, it's trivial, right? I mean, that's not,
Although, to be fair, I've been sitting in Diamond League for 3 seasons. I have precisely 1 week in Perfect Team to my competitive record. I would like to get to Perfect League and at least have a shot there. But then again, the Diamond playoffs is probably the most
playoffs is very random. I mean, it'll be a bit better this year. Like I think that change to make 12 Diamond Leagues at 24 was a very good one. I don't love the way they rolled it out, but I think in the long term it will be quite beneficial.
I agree, but except that I think by 6 months from now, there won't be enough teams to fill 12 Diamond Leagues.
Well,
logging in, yes.
There weren't enough teams. There have never been enough teams to fill 12 Diamond Leagues.
No, but I mean, the problem is, like you brought up the poker analogy at the beginning, right? Maybe actually blackjack's an even better way to say it, right? All of these depend on a healthy ecosystem. The reason that blackjack is such a brilliant casino game is that if you sit down and play a basic strategy, you go have a few hours of fun with your friends, you will win a third of the time. And a third of the time is almost the perfect rate where, between like the cognitive biases where you remember the wins more than the losses and everything else, you kind of convince yourself that you're doing fine.
You speak as a man who once lost 17 blackjack hands in a row playing basic strategy, but yes, I do see your point. What planet, with being the dealer, she was apologizing to me the whole time.
Yeah, that's fairly unlucky.
Yeah. It doesn't sound great. I've lost a lot of coin flips in a row playing poker, but but the point is that basically I think it's just worth repeating the things that we've been trying to tell people since the start of the game. Now that some of them are becoming obvious, it's worth repeating the others. Okay. Combinators are a problem. They're going to be game breaking. Chemistry is something where if the combinators have chemistry, it basically means the combinators win. But if the combinators don't have chemistry, there's actually a really difficult computational problem that you have to solve in order to figure out the best chemistry. But there's another big lurking problem here, which the combinators and chemistry exacerbate. And this is the one that I'm shocked that there doesn't seem to be an understanding of, but like I hear Spore, I think Spore is being honest when he talks about cards on Twipt. And Spore is still talking about things having a good or bad shape for this year. And if that's really his understanding of shape, the game is in a lot of trouble. Okay. There is no such thing as a good shape for PT 25. There are good shapes at different levels. There are, it's a complicated power curve. And one of the things that's going to happen is as we start to get toward a little bit higher on the power curve, we are going to be blowing up and going in a moonball-like direction. But it's going to be a very peculiar kind of moonball-like direction. And one of the problems with this moonball direction is, let's imagine we believe that chemistry and combinators between them can provide, a couple of 10% bumps to the value of a card, right?
Right.
Well, in the moonball direction we're going, a 20% bump in, say, power for Babe Ruth is not going to be a 20% bump in home runs. Under some circumstances,
In league,
it's
it
going to
might
be a
okay.
factor. Well, I was going to say, in tournaments, under some circumstances, it's going to be a factor of 3 bump in home runs. And I really do mean a factor of 3. And in league, the weird way normalization stuff works, it's possible that, that factor of 3 will express itself as the combinator versions of Babe Ruth hit home runs and the non-combinator versions hit none, depending on how the normalization is done.
Possible, I guess. Okay. I will say also
That's one I'm definitely guessing on, because the normalization is difficult to disentangle from everything else.
Various reasons, not entirely convinced the league curves and tournament curves are the same.
I'm certain the league and tournament curves are not the same, but that's part of what we're guessing.
Not the same in a way that is not just normalization, where there's sort of a
you're right.
The direction is different sometimes.
Yes.
Forgive me, I'm just over here with 3 weeks using Baby's first modeling kit. But I definitely do remember several instances it has come up, both in league as in tournaments, where the outliers, especially at the top end, perform very well. On the bottom end, they perform horribly. If you start a pitcher that with a control of 15, he's going to walk the world, even if the rest of his ratings are really good.
Yes.
So if you have a combinator that gets you, even if he is somehow the best card in the game normally, the little extra bump you'll get from him being a combinator is a much more significant advantage than it looks.
Depends entirely on which rating you're talking about. It's a different answer for each rating, basically.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I'm not too worried about having a higher avoid case.
But for control, so in general, a good way to think about it is on the low end of the ratings, there's an enormous punishment for being very bad at something.
For most of them. This is not true for every rating. For most of the ratings, this is true.
That's right. So there's an enormous punishment for being very bad at control. And in that sense, there's a huge difference between, 15 and 25 control, simply because 15 is even more really bad.
Yeah, but really the combinators are not boosting cards in a uniform way. Some cards are very good for combinators, and cards are not nearly as good for combinators.
Sure, right.
But it depends exactly on which numbers and where it's not a monolith.
Right, but this is not. But this is the other thing that I think people need to keep in mind. If you're worried that combinators are bad right now, and that chemistry with combinators is bad right now, please understand that the people that are using this are coming nowhere close to using them optimally.
Yeah.
If you gave me the same resources and asked me build a lineup, I would be using those resources quite a bit differently and would have a significantly bigger gap.
Yeah, what did Ivan Drago say to Apollo Creed? You will lose.
Although we know how that one turned out.
Yeah, Apollo Creed lost.
Oh wait, no, hey, no spoilers.
Can you really spoil a 40-year-old movie?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Of course. Yeah.
Man.
You have to. We should be spoiler alert like for everything we say.
No. Spoiler alert. No. How are you?
Yeah.
My name is
No, but it's. I think the other thing which I think is very problematic is, something we saw happen a lot last year with cards like Suarez and Ozzie Smith, is that the lower levels in particular, the price difference between like the Combinator team and the non-Combinator team is going to be much higher at that level probably, and it's going to be nearly impossible for any kind of new player to even compete in anything. They're like Iron Quicks,
Correct.
impossible. Like, it's basically it's the same thing we saw with the LEs last year, except this on steroids. Right,
Now,
we
to
were
be fair,
advising
though,
people, yeah,
if you bring up the Combinator card shop right now and you look at all the bronzes, many of the high end cards like the Adam Duns of the world don't have any for sale and actually have significant buy orders up.
yes.
Here, I can put up the shop if you want.
Sure, but most of the also rans have a Combinator card sitting there right there for you for 10,001 points.
Yeah, but that card is worse than Adam Dunn most of the time. So why would you pay 10,000 points for it?
Well, if all these Combinator cards are going to give me chemistry, I can not, without spending too much money, at least in the early going, I can bring that chemistry advantage to bear.
Well, you
fairly
say you say too much, but remember, at 10,000 to pop, you're still spending 260,000 to build anything you call a Combinator team in bronze.
plus leveling costs, plus it's not, yeah. I mean, it's
I've definitely done dumber things with 250K, let alone 750K.
yeah. No, I mean, I think for the most part,
So the good pet, you sell a Combinator the same way you sell any other card, except that you're not allowed to quick sell. So you must only sell them on the card shop, which means you must find a buyer.
yeah. So for the most part, you're gonna find anything that's like a top level card, you're gonna find a buyer for fast if you list it at sort of any price, pretty much. And if
Yeah,
it's
for
not
example, I
a
think there's
top level card, you will have a very hard time selling it probably.
Yeah, plenty of the high end cards have buy orders just sitting there. Adam Dunn Combinator card has a buy order above the L10 ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, by
The
the
others
way,
are
if
selected
anybody,
at the rip
speaking of which, if
resale.
anybody is really looking to invest in League despite everything we said, I've got a Daryl Strawberry that if you want, just let me know. I'm happy to sell around last 10.
Not a Combinator though, sadly, because you can't have a Combinator.
Not a Combinator, but it is a Daryl Strawberry. He is probably still your current best League option, I think, at that position VR. He's also a card that, eventually will be out of the meta and is only worth my owning if I'm trying to make a push in League, which I'm not. So,
Indeed.
but if anybody's in that situation, happy to sell. But anyway, that's where I think we're heading. And I think where we're headed is, think about last year, where the way that the game tried to get out of the mess with Spotlight was they had to have power creep where the average lifetime in the meta was under 4 weeks for a good card and was often less than a week for like some of the marginal upgrades. When you combine that with the combinators, it basically says that right, because here's the dilemma. Okay, on the one hand, you need combinators to win. On the other hand, every single purchase of a combinator and level of a combinator is costing you points and costing you resources. So you're no longer able to try to win in a way that increases your resources. They've created a situation where not just league, because in the past, I wasn't really a league player. I was more of a tournament player because tournaments you could compete in openly, right? Now the answer is if I want resources, I can't do it competing in league. I can't do it competing in tournaments. So I guess I'm either, doing market arbitrage. And
Always
for what it's
PT
worth,
Live.
by the way, that's been a version of my answer. So right now, to give you an idea of like what have I been doing in response to this, if I hadn't been in the hospital for the last week, it would have looked a little better than this. But to give you an idea, right now I still have almost 1,300 silver duplicates, historical silver duplicates, basically missionless. So that's what I've been trying to do. to find a way to, but basically apart from, but also the market stuff's not going to help for very much longer because once all the new cards are in spotlights, this doesn't work either. So it's basically a situation where you simply have to decide when you want to try to compete, even in tournaments, because even competing in tournaments means you're investing resources that never come back. Um, and that's just not a sustainable game ecosystem. Maybe there's a very narrow path if you're just that good at designing rosters and finding all of the right sliders. In the short term, there's probably a path with pack luck, but that's only ever a short-term answer because it's random. Um, but apart from like finding these narrow paths, you know, I think I have a pretty good idea of the kind of edge that I can build over other teams in tournaments, and it's not a big enough edge to be able to compete. I don't know. Is it
No.
awful? You think you maybe do have a big enough edge to compete? Maybe you're ahead of me on this.
Um, I, I think it's going to depend hugely on what the tournament cards look like. And also
But I guess
if
the problem is if the
if the
tournament
spotlights,
cards, if so, okay, what would the tournament cards have to look like in order to make it something workable?
I'd probably want to be selling the perfect for, I don't know, 500K or so.
Okay, but that means the tournament cards have to be playable, right? So they have to
Yes,
be important meta cards, but you said they're not going to be combinators.
I believe they cannot be commoners. Yeah.
So they have to be better than combinator cards that both can be leveled up and get chemistry. So you have to make the
Um,
tournament cards. So the point is to do this, you have to make the tournament cards so overpowered that they're just all must-haves,
yeah. It
right?
also it also depends on whether spotlights are going to continue to be this negative EV. Because if spotlights get anywhere close to neutral, they're going to be like infinite combinators of the new cards. But if they stay like this, there will not be. Like finding a combinator of a new card will be non-trivial.
I assume it will be possible. I assume they're going to make it possible to find combinators of the new cards. That's the intent of spotlights.
That is the intent of spotlights, I would think, but it was not. At least the price that Spotlight number 2 was set at was not consistent with that.
Yeah, but I assume they'll get there.
I mean, we'll see. That's why I want to see. I think next week is going to be very interesting because next week, they've mentioned, I think, a handful of times that like the idea is to have a mission week and then a non-mission week and then alternating. So next week, in theory, should be a week with no missions. So I think that will tell us a lot about whether the pricing was just bad because the missions were not designed in the way that they were intending, or whether the price was actually increased from last cycle.
Yeah, Mr. Joe Hobo, I'm not expecting to get the tournament rewards, or rather, I'm expecting to be able to get some of the silvers, and then hope. And then if it turns out the tournament cards are truly overpowered, getting the silvers means I can start winning higher end cards in silver tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that's also happened this year, which is, I think, probably the main reason that I have any amount of optimism, is that the average quality of teams in daily and weeklies has substantially decreased. Basically because people were given all these free slots. So you can't enter quite as many tournaments.
The faster fills, the easier it is.
But if your roster is constructed well, your win rate this year is, probably double what it was last year. Like win rate of the tournament, and if you can consistently like win one weekly a week and some other stuff, and you can win like 1,000,000 points in tournament awards plus some quicks plus some draft stuff plus whatever else, it feels like it's possible.
It's a
That's
really
whether
narrow path, but here's the problem, right? The problem is that I do think that I have a bit of an edge, but there are other really good managers out there that are willing to put some money into the game and have a similar edge.
Yeah, my thinking is that like in the past, the reason that you could only get, let's say, 2.5%, 3% win rates in weeklies was because all of those managers were in every weekly, but that is no longer possible. You'll only see like half of them every weekly, and so your win rate is going to be just drastically higher.
Except that the gap between you and the combinator teams is also going to be higher, right?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming at some point that I will be a combinator team. I mean,
Yeah, it seems like the place where this is where to going. Now, in the short
like
term, oh, go ahead.
my goal right now, right, is just to rack up a huge number of points, right? Basically, not spend them on anything, and just rack up a huge number of points. Sort of in risk-free ways.
Right. That's what I'm trying to do. But as you can see how successful I've been.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, this understates it a bit because I have all of these silver duplicates.
You have a lot of yes, but then the idea is that like okay, at some point I can build up enough capital to kind of start the snowball rolling, then I can keep it rolling. But building up the capital to start the snowball rolling is difficult.
Yeah, but the problem is when you try to start it rolling, you're going to have to pick only 1 or 2 levels to buy those combinators in.
Well, I'm not sure that I will be leveling to 5 everywhere. I think leveling to 2 is probably going to happen a lot.
Right, but even if you do that, let's like leveling everything to 2 in bronze, you're going to be putting $500,000 into a team.
Well, yes, but you probably don't need to do every card. I don't think.
No, but you're going to want every card to be a combinator.
I'm not sure that you will need them all because I don't know that the return at that level is going to be great. Like, I think if you just have like 15 of them, and some other stuff, it's probably going to get you pretty close to all 26.
I think the chemistry difference will be pretty big, actually, right? Because the chemistry difference is going as n. Chemistry is going as n squared.
No, but the points are, but the percentages aren't. I don't think.
Yeah. Like looking at some of these bronze combinators that are on the market right now, and I mean, Mike Andrews at second base, he's pretty good. You can for about 18K.
Yeah, he's like a third tier second base or something. I mean, he's not a terrible card, but
I think he's close to first tier in early years.
Maybe. I mean, his defense is not great, but yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know that I really ever want to be paying for anything that's not in the first tier for a combinator.
Sure, but I don't think with the exception of the very obvious ones that everyone notices, like Stahl and Dunn, several of these first tier combinators can be had for about 20 to 25K.
No, like I said, there was an Evaldi that sold for 30K, right? That's like way too low. Right?
Yeah,
that card
exactly.
is worth
Evaldi is far and away the number one pitcher in bronze right
now. Or even 25K. But so and that's also it sort of comes back to this whole like a lot of really strong cards end up getting underpriced, or rare cards maybe is the better way to say it. Rare strong cards get underpriced, and that probably is or may end up being the case for the commoners as well. And it's sort of going to be just like a question of sort of sniping them to for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
but the problem is even if you're able to get Evaldis at 20K, the problem is I'm just pointing out you're still looking at a big investment, and then you're basically betting on power creep not wiping it out before you get things going, because otherwise you just lose.
Yes, I mean you're probably going to try to do it like pieces at a time, right? Like you're going to buy, a handful of commoners one level that you think will last for a long time playing level above, and then you can skip spending points on like the really good. Like let's say, okay, you buy some silver combinators, and you think, okay, like buying silver combinators will let me skip buying some otherwise would be expensive non-combinator gold cards that I would want.
And you also got to remember because of this high barrier to entry for making a combinator team. Once you get it built, there isn't going to be that much you're going to need to do to keep up with.
Well, no, I know that's
It'll
true
be
because
quite a way over for
that
players.
depends on the rated power creep. If the rated power creep was like it was,
Right. The problem is if the rate of power
Yeah.
creep is what it was last year, the team doesn't last long enough to make the points back.
Good point.
some
Then
individual
again,
cards
you
will
see
last
those
enough. But yeah,
after on Sunday nights, once all the playoffs are done, everyone has seen those weird ghost roster cards that show up in all of our rosters, right?
yeah, I don't put any stock in those. Those are just random numbers as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
but we're getting players like Centron with 197 avoid Ks on launch day. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
but
out
I
of the realm
don't.
of possibility that we're going to start seeing 300 ratings by this time in January.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
No, I agree.
yeah,
So I think no. I think the intent was always to have big power creep. I just think they don't understand what makes cards good, even though it's a month in, because they're not willing to ask.
I mean, I will say,
Underdog estimated cost of 26 low common diamond commoners at level 5 this early in the game. Even apart from leveling them, you could just start with buying 26 of them, right?
yeah, that's 50K a piece at minimum, and some of
Right.
them will cost more because they're good cards. So that's 1.3 million.
Right. And leveling probably isn't so expensive. I guess that's under $500,000 to level all of them.
Yeah, so let's say maybe 2 million, like ish. 1.5 to 2 million, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an you can make that amount. It's possible.
Now, in their defense, a little bit, the supply of diamond combinator cards is pretty low. I'm seeing a lot more 0 PP, a lot less sell orders.
Yeah, I mean,
Lower
some of
ones, like
you know
irons and bronzes, though, you can get almost any of the cards you want.
a number of those are probably pulled, right? I mean, it doesn't really. You're still spending the points on the packs or whatever else, but
And there's also a lot of 50,001 PP as the last 10, which means
yeah, but I mean, so like that's the thing. Even if you're buying them all at 50,001, you're buying them all, right? 26 to
It's still
50,001 is
1.3
1.3 million.
million just to add them
Yeah.
up. Maybe a
Um,
tiny bit less because you could there are a handful of golds that play in low diamond.
right. Yeah. Okay. So you'll pull a few. So maybe one. I don't know. Yeah, I think between 1.5 and 2 million would be the price to get a full low diamond team with all level 5.
Yeah.
Something
It's a
in
lot.
that range.
So anyway, look, I I I think it's fine that there's a route for the game to make money. But the problem is if I'm the Springboks, it's also only fun to win if teams play against me.
Well, that depends on your outlook. I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, I said this last cycle, and well, it wasn't true. I actually do not enjoy owning every card. I find the game less fun when I own every card than when I don't own every card. And okay, last cycle I did own every card, but um, it takes away a lot of the intrigue where you can just buy everything,
Right.
because there's
I agree.
It takes like one of the decisions is how do you spend your points, and when the answer is how you spend your points is you buy every card, you just killed this interesting decision. So,
because here's the thing that's worrying,
Yeah.
that is worrying about me. Like tomorrow, I'm going to be on a laptop stream, and we're going to talk about some stuff, and I'm going to give away my bronze team. Last time I ran it on a weekend, it ran at 65%. It's pretty good. And I just can tell everyone how to play it because, quite frankly, I'm not playing for money. It's not like that big of a deal. I have no problem telling people the way I play. Maybe they'll learn something. Cool.
Sure.
But the hidden advantage I have here is that I have a job that is not really stressful and it allows me to remote to my home PC. So I'm able to flip a lot of cards simply because I'm sitting around all day in front of a computer. I don't have much else to do. So I play the card shop a lot. Cool.
That reminds me, I'll bring up my Iron Team because I haven't updated it on this computer and often it breaks. So while you're doing it, I should update my Iron Team.
All right. So even after I give this team away, my next option really is to spend all my time flipping cards in the card shop and putting together a combinator team of one form or other, either in iron or in bronze. Now, spending all that time on the card shop to make the money I would need to assemble this team, well, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort, and I really, really don't like when I list a card for 6,000 points. The price is $59.99 5 minutes later. So this seems like a really great way to both play the game, at least optimally, but to also burn myself out. I just don't think I'll be able to put as much time into the game playing the way that I think is going to be optimally because I think I'm just going to get sick of it and look for something else to do. Hopefully, someday I'll be able to figure out how to play Helldivers 2 from The Office.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
reasonable.
yeah, I mean, I said like, so I do almost no flipping of cards. I like you said, I would burn out if I did it. Like, I understand I can make points, but I don't want to burn out, so I don't do it.
Yes, it's absolutely mind numbing. It's absolutely tedious, and it just feels really dumb to keep getting into a chiseling war with one guy for
Yeah,
one card, only a few points.
I do live spec, but my live spec is I buy every card at the start of the month when I have the points to do it, and then I sell them all at the end of the month. So there's really not much effort there. But other than that, I do no flipping, right? So I think flipping, you can make a huge number of points. I'm sure you can make a huge number of points in flipping. But like you said, it feels so difficult to play the game that way for any period of time.
No, I don't like arbitrage. I am, as I showed you, I'm flipping silvers, but the reason I'm doing it was simply because I didn't think it made sense to try to play the combinator game, because I could see that that's a losing game. It's just that's a losing game for everybody, including the people that are, it's just that there are people whose approach to OTP is that they're willing to lose because they're putting outside resources in. I'm choosing not to do that, right?
And you should also make out if they actually come out with Build a Legend anytime soon.
Eventually I'll make something, but the point is, I would have much more fun making those points competing in tournaments.
Yes. No, but like I said, I the reason I don't burn out on building tournament rosters is because I find the actual building enjoyable. If I didn't find the building enjoyable, there's no chance.
Right.
Like this, Sakic is saying, like, yeah, I would burn out after a couple months too, but I actually enjoy the building, so that's sort of the savior.
And this is kind of chilling here. Sakic says he burns out after a couple months. He's the #1 winner on the tournament wins leaderboard.
Yay, gold do or
die. Oh, nice.
That's where all the cool kids play. Man.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's and I'm sure there are people who enjoy the flipping, and then you don't burn out on the flipping. But I don't enjoy the flipping, so I'm like, you have to find something you enjoy, otherwise you will burn out. That's it's a very grindy game, so you got to find some part of the grind that's enjoyable to you.
No, I like building rosters, but of course, part of the reason I like building rosters is this understanding that if I build a good roster, I can win something. Right? If building a good roster simply means that, I go until I hit the people that have the cards I can't afford and then I lose, it's less compelling to try to build rosters because much more of your results in a tournament come from getting a good draw rather than building a good roster.
Or getting lucky, but yes.
I mean, or getting lucky, but I actually would prefer that that the better team win most of the time because
I would too.
It's better feedback, right?
Yeah, of course, but I've certainly won and lost, both won and lost series that the results should have gone the other way. It happens.
Definitely, yeah.
But I mean, I agree that the understanding, and I mean, we've sort of talked about this a lot. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. The past few streams,
we're all sort of. I'm definitely fading a bit here. Yeah.
Yeah. The past few streams where that, like, the feedback, like you said, from the game is kind of bad. Like, understanding the engine is hard, understanding what's happening is hard, understanding the statistics is hard because they're wrong.
It's so hard to pull data. Like you want to.
Yeah, and that really just increases huge the barrier.
And that's where I hope, MrBlack, you're kind of able to express some of this on the on lap stream tomorrow, because I think there's a lot of bad information on the affiliate streams, and it's important to get some good information out there.
Well, there's a lot of bad information everywhere.
It is tough to understand though, because for the most part, OOTP just wants their Twitch numbers high. The more people who can watch their game on Twitch that's really all they're interested for. So if someone is going to stream regularly, it really as long as they're not going to do something preposterously embarrassing to OOTP, it does make sense that they will support them and give the players packs for watching them.
No, I'm not faulting OOTP for giving people incentives to stream their game. Like, that seems very logical.
I am actually faulting them for endorsing crazy information.
Well, I must warn you, I do have a bit planned where I am putting on a tinfoil hat.
Oh, boy.
No, I think the point is, you know, in the long run, the reason that people are going to, let's say that OOTP has a goal of increasing Twitch viewers, okay? I think there are very, very few people who are tuning in to OOTP-related streams that don't play the game, right?
Probably.
So what the streams should be doing is the streams should be helping people to enjoy the game more.
I also think it's genuinely silly how pitiful the pack rewards are for playing the single player game. If we're going to give out packs for inflating our Twitch numbers, I don't see why we wouldn't give out packs to inflate our Steam game numbers.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know actually how Steam game counts work. Does it? No, we're not planning to do cards today, probably.
Yeah, so we were hoping to wrap up. I think we mentioned this at the beginning, but we're all under the weather to varying degrees.
You can probably just give a few mention, name 5 cards were good.
I think if there's specific cards people want us to talk about, we'll try to do that. But I'm fading pretty quickly. So I know isidafo is a bit sick.
Yeah, I mean,
this is my first day out of the hospital this week, so that's good, I guess. But
I probably got another, I don't know, half an hour, and then my voice is gonna just completely give out. So, yeah.
If there are specific cards people want us to mention quickly, we'll take a quick look. But then I think otherwise we're planning on wrapping up.
Yeah. And I will say on the point that Capcom's making, I think there are different kinds of information I don't agree with on various streams. There's one type which is like stuff that's just like sort of like objectively wrong, and there's stuff which is like looking at the data in a different way and coming to a different conclusion based on like sound principles.
Right. No, it's the unsound principles, but also the whole, like, think about it this way, right? We had this discussion a month ago about combinators. There was a lot of, this is how combinators are going to work and what's going to work and what isn't on the affiliate streams, which also, had no basis basically. Like I think you make game design choices. You want to let people be informed about how to play the game, and then everyone gets to decide what they enjoy about it. One of the messages that has come across in the main Discord as well has been, if you're not putting money into the game, you shouldn't expect to be able to win. You should be happy just playing the game and not being able to win. There are some people that feel that way. And if you feel that way, you should be aware of the situation. You should be aware of the things that'll help you to do better.
I do not. I think that is a very, very.
I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way, but Yeah,
I think the number of people who do are in the low single digits in all likelihood. But yes.
But if that's you don't have to feel like you're playing for a piece of plastic in order to enjoy the game. But I do think, regardless of what you're playing for, you should be getting good information about how the game works and what are the things you need to do to try to be pointed in the direction you want to be, as well as whether that's realistic.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not everyone's goal is the same. Like we said this a bunch of times, like it's fine if people's goal is not to win Perfect League or to win PTCS. It's just to make PTCS or to make Perfect League or to make Diamond League or whatever. I mean, people have different goals. It's fine. People have different amounts of time and money, whatever they're going to put in the game. But like, no matter what your goal is, you're much better served by having good information, even if it's good information that makes things more difficult for you than bad information.
Right.
Right.
Because let's be real here. The two groups of people who are most susceptible to superstition in the world are uncontacted tribes, like from the Amazon or North Sentinel Island, and baseball fans.
Poker players.
I don't know, man.
There's a big
I'll
overlap,
call it a tie, but in my experience, the baseball fans are significantly more psychotic than the poker players, and that is saying a lot.
Right. No, but I mean, but actually, Kava's stream is a really good example. So, for example, for me personally, one of the things that just because it doesn't speak to me as a viewer, one of the things that always like amazes me is it seems like one of the most popular things for OOTP streamers to do is to open packs. And to me, that's just never been something that speaks to me. But I know that's something that like Kava's stream really does a great job of. And, people really enjoy that in a way that like I said, I've never quite understood it. I remember Yuki, also when she would do pack opening on stream, she'd kind of make a big thing out of it, and people really got into it. It was, like I said, it's funny for me because like for me, obviously I open packs because everyone opens packs, but like I never kind of really got into it.
If anyone is opening packs and wants a Cy Young as a standing offer, just let me know. I'll come in. I'll get your Cy Young, and that
That's true. We do have our Cy Whisperer.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. That like I don't think people are somehow wrong for enjoying watching packs get opened. It's just it's not the thing I enjoy about the game, and so but it also means that like I think. But it's clear that there are a lot of people for whom it's a really enjoyable part of like just kind of casually, getting to watch someone open packs. You follow, you kind of live vicariously through that. You have a little bit of fun with it.
It is cool when the chocolate card comes up.
I mean, I guess sort of the other, like, I guess, the other thing that we're saying kind of like, if there's someone who's streaming opening packs and they just sort of, claim the odds are different than the odds actually are, like they just, proclaim that like, nope, these odds for perfects are actually not correct. It's actually 1 in 5. Like at that point it becomes an issue, right? But
right.
If you're just doing something that you enjoy, like then it's kind of fine.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I don't think it's a problem to have different kinds of streams, but I do think it's a problem when, like I said, the point that I was drawing the line was that OOTP has been choosing to promote as experts people that are giving false information about the game. So for the Combinator stuff, for example, I think it's now clear that the things that were being said on the affiliate expert streams were incorrect, and the things that were being said here were quite a bit closer.
I mean, I do remember saying that I thought there would be teams with full combinators within a month of launch, which I think was turned out to be a good prediction. I will say to Kate Risman's point, I think I have sort of two enemies in this game that I fight against constantly. The first is the AI manager.
Yep.
And the
I hate
second
that AI
is the
manager.
damn 10,000 card limit. That is the worst. I hit that thing constantly. It is so annoying.
It's a quality first for the problem you got there.
Yeah.
It's stupid limit. Okay, sorry. I almost hate the limit more than the AI manager. The limit is so annoying.
I think the AI manager is almost a frenemy at this point, right?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh no, not at all. He's absolutely the screen door on your submarine. He is the main antagonist of this game.
Yeah.
He's going to beat you more than anybody else.
No, that card limit beats my spirit. My spirit is crushed by the damn card limit that I can't hold all the lives I want. I have to choose ones to quick sell too early.
Yeah. Okay, if Kavik was saying that, then yeah, he was definitely spot on.
No, I'm not saying it's just like a lot of people were saying that. Like that was not some kind of miraculous
there's no real
opinion.
quick fix. There's a lot of problems, but yikes, Combinator is a card type, and making it as powerful as a teammate year. Oof.
Look,
like
even in
finding
the,
out
I'll just say, even in the beta, we gave them that feedback. Anyway, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's look. It is what it is, right? Anyway, yeah, we should probably wrap up pretty soon because I think we're all. Oh, someone asked. Okay, that's a good question. All right, top 5 like bang for your buck league cards.
Oh, I answered it already. Chase Utley, Chase Utley, Chase Utley, and Chase Utley.
Utley's definitely up there.
The question there is, I mean, you're not wrong. It's just that you could let him down.
All right. So, what you want to talk about, like cards that'll be under 5 to 10K that play up a
really
bit?
cheap cards. I mean,
say Nicky Lopez is a good one.
Probably Buddy Bell. I think Buddy Bell costs 10K still.
Probably, yeah.
Up versus R for quite a while. You just got to make sure you platoon him with somebody.
I mean, no, honestly, the live Framber Valdez and Max Fried, I think, are pretty high up there because they effectively only cost like 5K each, since you can quick sell them again.
Is Framber in danger of going down next month?
Framber's been injured the whole season. He may have made like one start. I'm not
good for him because I don't remember them ever dropping a guy or moving a guy at all if he's injured, because the rest of the Astros team, oh boy.
Yeah.
So if based on what they did in previous years, in principle, so an injured card will not change their raw ratings, but the overall rating seems to be a comparative thing where they take, the top whatever percent of cards and make them hundreds and so forth.
Yeah, I think there have been like 1 or 2 examples of cards changing while injured, but it's
extremely rare. So in principle, if the other cards move around them, then a card could move overall rating while injured.
Yeah, I do remember it's very rare.
Suspension. He remained 100 during that time.
Yeah, there was what's his name? Blake Trinan one year, I think, went from 89 to a 90 while injured.
But in doing so, it's the raw ratings don't change. It's just that what that maps to, because what you're doing is you're taking, the top, whatever, like say the top 15% or diamonds. It could be that even if those numbers don't change, when everybody else's numbers change, he moves from just above 15th percentile to just below, right?
Yeah, but it's generally a safe assumption that an injured card will not move. It's quite unlikely. To Beetle Boy's question, Matt Holliday, I think, is unplayable.
Of course he's unplayable. He still hasn't shot home plate.
Well, is an issue. But the bigger issue is that his ratings are bad.
Too soon, man.
That said, I think Jackson Holiday might be just as unplayable. Maybe slightly more playable. So. Yeah, Bieber's an interesting question, Polycarp. That one's hard to say, because he did have 2 really good starts, and he's a 99, so he could definitely move up. It's very possible.
I feel like if I were Holiday, I would have just gone out there the next morning and touched home plate just to make a point.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, that joke's almost old enough to vote. I think it was 17 years ago.
Was it that?
Wait, was that 2007? Was that the year they played the Sox? The Rockies, I mean.
It must have been, right? That's the only year the Rockies made the World Series.
Yeah, that was the Rocktober. They won every game until they hit the Red Sox, and then they decided to stop playing.
So that must be 2007 then.
It was done in 2007. They won like 20 games, whatever it was. I remember all those wins. They played the Diamondbacks, right? And then the Cardinals, I think.
Yeah, and they had to play us in game 163, which is the incident about Matt Holliday.
Yeah.
Time flies.
best bang out of the new Future Legend catchers. I guess that's either Ford or Salas. Right? Those are the two new ones. Oh, the Caro, but Caro is not playable.
I think they did Salas dirty. If you have to pick Ford.
I
Okay,
think
I did
Salas.
think Max Clark, I think, was pretty good.
Yeah, Clark is
Yeah,
good. I like him.
I think I like so Hurston Waldrep. I liked quite a lot. I'm guessing it's not going to be a Charles kind of a card, but that's my kind of card.
All right, you know what? Here, let's do it this way, and then this is a good point to stop. Let's just quickly talk each level. That way, if you want, you can run a quick model and just see who ends up in a discussion. Is that fair?
I mean, I could just list them off, but it's like a few cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think Hurston makes a high silver play
I
card.
was still
Okay,
well,
I'll just list off the cards I've got anywhere close.
I was still
Waldrep,
on some fairly heavy narcotics watching Twipt yesterday, or at least I hope
yeah,
I was, based on some of the things I was seeing.
that's fair. Okay, so my list of playable cards: Waldrep, none of the golds,
Hold
Max
on,
Clark,
I'm
Cade
running silver here
Cavalli,
real quick. So go ahead. What?
silver just Waldrep, no golds, Max Clark and Cade Cavalli in low diamond, James Wood in full diamond, Cade Horton kind of close-ish, Painter Salas, and Job all decent. Ford also decent, but only at catcher. Holiday like maybe platoon third base, but that's about it.
All right.
Pretty much,
So silver,
that.
the only one I'm seeing is One Way, maybe Emerson. I don't know if that's just not your shape. Let me see if I can pull up the card.
No, didn't have him all that great. I want the
So I
defense.
like him
Okay.
best at third, I think.
Yeah, I think I just like the defense probably more at the Ortiz and Felton Snow. I still want, and then at third base I want Bats.
Yeah, I think I was thinking I might put Felton Snow at second and then maybe Emerson at third, but it's a tiny upgrade.
Yeah, I've generally been playing Snow at second and Ortiz at short.
I'm not seeing any gold that looks interesting.
No, the golds are all chart. The gold is the set.
Yeah, not seeing any gold that looks interesting. Sorry, I'm still
I was actually quite impressed that I
diamonds. Let's
pulled
see.
an Art Shalek on the day of, and naturally, I only pull limited editions who aren't really that good.
I mean, I thought Shalek was kind of like fringy bullpen and low iron, so could be worse. It could be Aaron Miles.
It could be worse. You could not make the bullpen a low iron. That's true.
It could be Aaron Miles. I mean, you know.
There is that.
All right, so looking at diamonds, so Max Clark, I really like in low diamond at least.
Yep.
And I think there's maybe even room to play him as a fifth outfielder in full diamond, depending on how complete your build is.
Yeah, I had him kind of, I like Cavalli for pitcher there as well, but again, that's probably not your shape of card.
Let me look at the pictures also. Didn't end up with any of the pitchers really being critical. Harry Ford, I have as the second best catcher each way, but not part of your optimal platoon if you think you're going to see both righties and lefties.
Yeah, he seemed like decent to me.
So, like in the frame somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, Wood seemed like a platoon option in the outfield.
Looking is not a lot. Yeah. Not a lot. Not a lot with. I'm just sort of going through. Wood, I don't think is that strong. I mean, Evan Carter still is the best of the future legend outfielders by a lot, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like
And I think Max Clark's probably the second best. So I'd say Clark and maybe Harry Ford, just because with the flexibility, kind of he'll save you a roster spot if you make him the backup catcher plus.
Yeah, I will. This Harry Ford is definitely a lot weaker than last year's Gold Harry Ford.
Yes.
This is Harry Ford was a wild card. Last year. You can play him whenever you wanted. He was like drawing a joker in a poker game.
Yeah, Ford was great last year.
Yeah.
I was trying to agitate that we should have a draft if we're going to get the ones where they pick like one round. Here's the cards that you're forced to pick. It would make the most sense that everyone would get one Harry Ford.
Or just don't do those drafts because they don't make sense.
But yeah, making the best of a bad situation here.
No, but everybody likes a draft where you reduce the skill factor by making the teams more similar, right? Isn't that
Of course.
isn't that the point of a draft?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, what we could do? We could make the teams entirely identical, and we could call it a draft lottery.
We could even just drop the draft part and just call it a lottery.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's right. Anyway, I think those were all the diamonds I was really interested in, right?
Horton seems kind of fringy to me. I don't think his two-way is useful, but it seemed like he's kind of a fringy-ish pitcher.
I don't have him good enough on the pitching side. I mean, at full diamond, you're maybe starting to get into the point that you don't own all the cards, and so somebody that's a top 20 option is playable.
No, I thought it was like in the sort of 5. Not
it's
more
still
like 10.
kind of work though. I mean, if you're playing full diamond, Logan Webb's probably still making your team.
Yeah, Logan Webb is good.
Yeah, I'm still playing Webb. I'll still play Consuegra. I'm not proud.
Webb and Horton kind of similar.
Okay.
Last time I checked, his home run rate is even lower this month.
Yeah, I wonder if it will be
30 cents per night or something.
On one second.
Launch. So I suspect the card overall may go up and ratings go down. As strange as that sounds.
All right, sorry. Sorry, back. Okay, and then looking at the perfects, Jackson Holiday seems like perfectly fine. The problem is I'd probably rather DH him if I can.
Yeah, I thought his only use was like platooning with King Kelly at third, because second he gets blocked by Utley, and short he's like doesn't have the defense.
Something like that, but I feel like there's at least room for him somewhere. Solace is fine, but not critical.
No, I think Holiday's on the 26-man roster, but I think I would prefer all 3 of the other perfects to Holiday.
And Job seems to be the best of the starters, and I've got Job as fringy top 5. So definitely someone that if I have, I'll put in the rotation.
Yeah.
I'm not paying up for some of the others that are ahead of him.
I had Job and Painter fairly similar. Job a little bit better. So, but yeah, they both seem playable.
And I've got Painter around 9th or 10th, but again, at the perfect level, that's not a crazy card to put in a rotation, because you're less likely at this stage to invest in every card.
Yeah. And then Salas. I mean, I have Salas as sort of barely the best catcher, but
I've got Jocko better two-way and Salas better VR.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, I have a bunch of guys pretty close, but it's really just a question of defensive value at that point. It's not.
Yeah.
Catcher defense is very guessy, so it's
yes.
Yeah.
And of the throwbacks that came out, I've got Presley as a high silver floor bullpen piece, and Chet Lemon gets a D for defense.
That's what I honestly didn't even look at those cards yet.
Yeah.
This Chet Lemon doesn't look so horrible, actually.
Yeah, I can see what we got here. Throwbacks.
Might be okay. Presley does not look great.
I must concede. I am using Baby's first modeling kit.
Presley, there's a lot of ratings, but they're not in good places. Okay, I actually wouldn't be shocked if Presley is okay, because his ratings are not in good places, but he has a lot of them.
And he's got a 9 stamina, though.
Yeah, whatever.
That's like 3 plays.
He's a lot. There are a lot of numbers on this card.
Well, there are a lot of numbers on most cards.
Yeah, but they're big numbers. I don't like where they are located, but they're big numbers.
Yeah, I don't end up with Presley being very good just because the
I
shape.
guess I can check. Silver, I guess this is, yeah.
And it's also good for him because apparently that was the year right after the Houston trash can bagging scandal. So we didn't get that on him at least.
Oh, that's good.
Because otherwise, he doesn't make my team.
Let's see. Where do I got Presley? I do not have Presley anywhere close, it appears. Okay.
No, I didn't have him close, but
A lot of ratings in bad places.
yep. Anyway, so maybe there's a good time to raid in. I'm hoping by next week we'll be up to the more full stream. But thanks everyone. Is there someone to raid into?
I was gonna check Chet Lemon. Oh, I actually have Chet Lemon as pretty decent.
You do? Okay, cool.
Like very playable.
Absolutely trust Isidafo's model over mine.
When did the card come out? I'll grab a fresh.
This morning, I think.
Like a few hours ago, yeah.
Okay.
Like not sort of similar to the current top guys, but nothing crazy.
Let me I'll throw them in the model. Anyone who raid into? Or I saw Kava was in chat, for example. Were you planning on spinning up a stream at all?
Their Attica is currently streaming. Does not appear there's anyone else streaming.
Oh, is Minerva streaming too? Or just Attica?
I don't see Minerva. He's not streaming OATP. Maybe he's not streaming OATP. He's streaming something else, maybe.
Oh, he's streaming something else. Okay, then should we go with Attica then?
Sure.
Oh, or did he just go live? We can. Oh, okay. Then we can raid the Minerva. Sure.
All right.
I'll just quickly get you an answer on.
You're going to get some literal tinfoil hat analysis. I apologize.
Nice.
Always helpful. Just don't go in a microwave.
Yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way when I was like 8.
Never mind. Okay, I've got Lemon. Yeah, I don't have Lemon as the top center field option, but I've got him as sort of top 5 and, better VL, of course. So,
yeah, I mean, tuning him seems reasonable, certainly.
Yeah, but defend my D for defense argument. If you don't make the top 3 or maybe 4, you typically don't play if you're a perfect card.
He does have a lot of defense.
the problem is, if you're willing to put up with his defense, I'd rather just play K-Line.
In center?
I mean, the bat's a lot better.
I mean, yeah, to play K-Line right, though.
Right now you can, but the point is if another right fielder comes out, then probably you'd rather move K-Line to center and keep the bat.
That's probably true. I mean, he's going to be a lot worse VR. Like, certainly good for Lemon VR over K-Line in center.
Yeah, but I meant if you're platooning.
Over platooning. Yeah, I guess like with Mike Griffin or something, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm probably supposed to be playing my Strawberry in center.
Yeah, if you own Strawberry, probably you're supposed to do that, yeah.
If anyone wants to own Strawberry, by the way, just let me know. We're having a fruit sale. All right, we're gonna raid to Minerva. Thanks again, both of you. Sorry, everyone, about the shorter stream, but everyone's a bit under the weather. So, except MrBlack, who's just under the tinfoil.
To be fair, it is cloudy today, so yes, I am under the weather. It's not supposed to happen that way in San Diego.
Right,
I was looking
thanks,
at the live yesterday and said there was like a non-zero chance of rain in San Diego. I was shocked.
Very annoying.
Oh,
Look,
apparently, I'm supposed to warn everybody. Minerva's channel is intended for mature audiences.
Well, that takes all 3 of us out.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyway, please tell them we said hi. Thanks, Beetle Boy. Hopefully, I will have the same number of organs next week as I do on this week's stream.
Well, if we got kidneys on, then we could have an extra one.
Yeah, we can actually come out ahead.
That's true. It's multiple kidneys, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan. We'll get kidneys as a replacement
Yeah.
Yes, not the most fun week. Thanks, everyone. All right, we're gonna raid into Minerva. See y'all next week.
Have a good night.